recording this meeting, and the recording of this meeting will be available on our YouTube channel, which goes by the name of Teen Talk series. So all those, your friends or your colleagues or anybody who is going to be missing this session today, they can watch the recording after 2 days on our YouTube channel, which goes by the name Teen Talk series. So please do watch the recording and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so basically, you know, what is this session about today? So I'll just give a brief introduction of the session that we are holding today. So basically, you know, you children are growing. When you grow, you have your different personalities, you develop your own likes and dislikes. You want to have your own ways of working, you develop your own ways of thinking. But then your parents always believe in the best for you. Okay, they always want to do the best for you, but the way they want to do their best for you may not be the right thing which you think it is, because you are growing up. Your thought process has changed, your way of living has changed, your surrounding has changed. You are moving around in a new peer circle, your generations are different, your thought processes are different, the way your parents believe in communicating is different, and the way you want to communicate is very different. There are times when children internalize, children do not feel comfortable in sharing and communicating with their feelings. So the way they think and the way they behave, you know, they may be completely different, which may not be understood by the parents so well. And these are the things which may lead to a lot of gap between the parents and the teenagers, leading to at times, you know, a lot of stress, a lot of fights in the family, or maybe a complete breakdown in communication in the family. So it is very, very imperative that, you know, children and parents, they come at some middle level. The children understand what parents are expecting from them. The parents understand that the children are different entities by themselves, and they are not going to be just what they want them to be, because they are living, thinking souls, and they have got their own thinking pattern, thinking behavior, behavioral changes, physical, social, and psychological changes the children are going through. So it is very, very important that the children and the parents understand each other and find some means of improving the communication between them, and which can have a very, very, very vast impact on improving the entire family dynamics. Okay, so this is our session for today, and I'm very happy to introduce our expert speaker for the day. We have Ms. Nusrat Khan, who's the speaker for today. She is the practicing psychologist, a gold medalist with 20 years of experience, and co-founder of Cactus Foundation India. She's social engineer, transformation consultant, and change maker, and survivor of child sexual abuse. She is international affiliate of American Psychological Association, member of Asian Association of Social Psychology. She is honored as one of the 6 women trailblazers in Asia by OBW Singapore, winner of prestigious Humanitas Award for her story at SEMA Awards USA, winner of Best Story at prestigious Shorty Awards in Youth and Family category US. So I'm extremely happy to welcome Ms. Nusrat Khan for today's session. But before we start with today's session, I would have 3 announcements to make. All question answers will be happening at the end of the session. So anybody has got any questions, you want to talk about something, we may not be able to absolutely tell you about your personal problems, but yes, we would be able to guide you on general issues. So you can put your questions in the chat box. I'll be noting them down and we'll be taking it up at the end of the session. Second, our next session is scheduled on 19th of September. Agla session 19th September ko hai on positive parenting. Okay, so positive parenting is going to be taken by renowned national expert on the topic of emotional intelligence, who is considered to be an authority in the topic. He's the boss in the topic, Dr. Sandeep Kelkar. It is a very important session, I would say, for the parents and the teachers, because it is all about positive parenting, and the session aims to cover know your parenting style, understand and deal with feelings in children, what is emotional intelligence, how can parents nurture EQ skills in children, and how to talk so that children will listen. So it is very important for parents and teachers. Please do pass a message around. We will be putting out a Google form soon, and you can fill up the Google form and register. And as we did this time, all those who register for the workshop, हम Zoom link उनको 10 या 12 सितंबर तक मेल से भेजेंगे. तो हम लोगों को बहुत सारे, आप जो ईमेल आईडीज भरते हैं गूगल फॉर्म्स में, वो गलत होते हैं। ओके, और अगर ईमेल आईडीज आपके गलत होते हैं, आज भी आप लोगों ने, बहुत सारे लोगों ने जो रजिस्टर किया है उन्होंने गलत ईमेल आईडीज भरे हुए हैं, सो इसलिए जूम के मैसेजेस नहीं जा सकते, जूम लिंक के मैसेजेस। सो प्लीज फिल योर मेल आईडीज करेक्टली, बिकॉज जूम लिंक आपको सारे मेल पे आएंगे। एंड थर्ड थिंग, आज का जो सेशन होगा उसका कुछ समय के बाद हम चैट बॉक्स में आपको फीडबैक फॉर्म डालेंगे। ओके, सो दैट गूगल फीडबैक फॉर्म इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू अस। सो हम आपको सेशन समझा नहीं समझा, सेशन कैसा लगा, सेशन में कुछ इम्प्रोवाइजेशन आप चाहेंगे क्या, और आपको अगले कौन से सेशंस एडोलेसेंट हेल्थ के ऊपर सुनने की इच्छा रखते हैं, वो आप हमको सजेशंस भी दे सकते हैं। सो विद दिस आई हैंड ओवर द सेशन एंड द डायस इज ऑल योर्स, मिस खान।
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Archana, for giving us this opportunity, giving me this opportunity. And you guys are doing some amazing work. Congratulations, back to
Thank
back,
you.
having such amazing sessions. And yes, I would also highly recommend that all of you attend the next session because it's quite linked to what I'm going to be taking today. So it kind of becomes like a coursework. आप सबके लिए कोर्स की जैसे वो बन जाता है, and you can take advantage and अपने parenting कनेक्शन में आप काफ़ी इम्प्रूवमेंट्स लेकर आ सकते हैं। मेरा नाम नुसरत खान है, जैसे मैम ने बताया है, एंड अब मैं सेशन शुरू कर रही हूँ। आई एम गोइंग टू शेयर द स्क्रीन। एम आई अलाउड टू शेयर द स्क्रीन?
Yes, yes, you are the co-host, so you can share the screen.
Okay, just a minute. Yeah, I will just share the screen right now. So yeah. No. Yes. Can everyone see the screen? Is it visible?
Yes, 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 it is visible.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm very happy to see Dr. Archana. I would like to mention this. We have our friends from Philippines, from the Chameleon Association, who have joined your session because, as I mentioned, we have forwarded this amazing work that you're doing, not just in India, even across the borders. And we have the team Chameleon here. So I will be speaking in English and Hindi as much as possible. The Chameleon guys, if you all don't understand a few things in Hindi, you know that Cactus Foundation is with you, and I will share everything with you later on in case if you're thinking that it's too much of Hindi. But I'm sure with the PPT, you'll be able to understand a lot of new things for your own team and for your own work. So let's get into the session. Before I go ahead, I would like to say, I think मेरे introduction में एक बात बोली गई कि मैं एक child sexual abuse survivor हूँ. So ये बड़े गर्व की बात तो नहीं है, लेकिन ये हमारे समाज की सच्चाई है कि जो चाइल्ड सेक्सुअल अब्यूज है वो बहुत कॉमन है, वो बहुत रैम्पेंट है, अपने देश में भी होता है। और इसको लेकर मैं मैम से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि हमको एक अलग सा सेशन आप अरेंज करवाएं हमारे लिए, सो वी कैन हेल्प द पेरेंट्स टू अंडरस्टैंड ऑल एवरीथिंग अबाउट दिस।
Ms. Khan, I would be surely doing it, and I must say that don't say it that it is not to be said proudly, but what I feel that coming out of it and saying it proudly
That is
is
a
something which makes you a very, very, very determined person, and that is what is important. Because certain things are not in our hands, but to come out of it and grow bigger than that is definitely in our hands. So that is what everybody must look up to.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, what you call is we are now going to try and understand कि Cactus Foundation हम महाराष्ट्र में, इंडिया में और आउटसाइड इंडिया भी काम करते हैं। और जस्ट डिटेल्स में नहीं जाऊंगी, हमारे क्रेडेंशियल्स आपको फेसबुक और इंस्टाग्राम पे मिलेंगे, और बहुत सारा साधन जिसको बोलते हैं टू मेनी रिसोर्सेज रिलेटिंग टू पेरेंटिंग, रिलेटिंग टू चाइल्ड सेक्सुअल अब्यूज एंड मेंटल हेल्थ फॉर किड्स and adults, you will find on our web pages, and you can directly contact us if you all have to arrange our sessions or create awareness about this. Now let's hop on to a very important topic, and that is the next, just a minute, my slides are not moving, just give me a second. Yeah, so we are going to talk about bridging the gap, parent teen communication. um, सबसे पहले मैं लोगों से ये पूछना चाहती हूँ कि हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू think about this problem कि आजकल कैसे हो गया है, what we do is we throw everything on the teenagers. We say this generation is bad, this generation has no sense, they don't have any purpose, they are purposeless, and all they know is to stick to their screens. हमने इतना label किया है, we have labeled these teenagers so strongly that now they are also starting to believe that yes, we are fit for nothing, and it's okay, and this is what we deserve, and so ये जो एक dialogue है अपने समाज में, in our society, where we have labeled these teenagers, the next generation, as problem makers, as troublemakers, as people who are in a way aliens, and more so it is also the media that is depicting them that way. It is also the parent community, and every parent has to say this, हमारे ज़माने में तो हम ऐसे नहीं थे, हम ऐसे उल्टे जवाब नहीं दिया करते थे, या हम इस तरीके से, हमारी सोच नहीं थी. आजकल ये लोग कितने मॉडर्न हो गए हैं, कितने फ्री हो गए हैं, इनको अपने करियर को लेकर सीरियसनेस नहीं है. आज बोलते हैं इंजीनियर बनना है, परसों बोलते हैं डॉक्टर बनना है. सो इतने सारे कंसर्न्स हैं हमारे टीनेजर्स को लेकर. लेकिन बिफोर गोइंग अहेड विद दिस सेशन, मैं सबको ये बताना चाहूंगी कि ये सेशन सिर्फ पेरेंट्स के लिए नहीं है. दिस सेशन इज नॉट जस्ट फॉर पेरेंट्स, दिस सेशन इज ऑल्सो फॉर टीनेजर्स. वी आर हियर टू अंडरस्टैंड ईच अदर. We are here to understand each other's point of view. So before taking on to the next slide, I'm setting some basic rules. I want each one of you to first memorize this thing. There is no such thing as good parenting, bad parenting. No. Don't label yourself first. इस चीज की शुरुआत कहाँ से होती है? जब हम एज पेरेंट्स हर चीज में, बच्चा फेल हो जाता है, बच्चे से कुछ गलती हो जाती है, कुछ भी हो जाता है, हम ऐसे खुद को दोषी मानने लगते हैं. हम खुद को इधर दोषी मानते हैं या खुद का एक सुपीरियरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स रहता है. मान लो मैं एक बहुत ही सफल प्रोफेशनल हूँ, आई एम अ वेरी what you call is a successful professional, and then I start kind of having a superiority complex that I'm such a good parent, I'm the best parent in the world, why is my teenager behaving like this? Or if the child is failing, why is my child failing? Am I a bad parent? So first rule of the day is that there is no such thing as good parent and bad parent. There is no such thing as perfect parenting. हम जैसे experts like us, no matter how many tips we give you, how many books we kind of just grind and make you drink, and we ask you, okay fine, this is it, this whatever knowledge you get, but you have to know, as a parent, you are the best for your child. Nature has selected you, your child is your DNA. It's about you. Okay, it's about you, and you have to be positive about yourself. You have to remind yourself that yes, this is me, and whatever I'm doing for the best, whatever I can, but there is always room for improvement. Okay, and parenting basically is about growing with the child. You are as old as your kid. So if your kid is 10 years old, you're just 10 years old as a parent, right? You cannot, and the major issue is we all kind of have this notion that no, I am like 40 years old and my 10-year-old is teaching me this is so bad. No, you are also a 10-year-old parent. If your child is 10-year-old, you are a 10-year-old parent. If your child is 20 years old, you are a 20-year-old parent. So don't bash yourself, don't hate yourself, don't overlove yourself, don't be narcissistic. You have to have a balance. You have to have a check on reality. Okay, this is my reality. Okay, so today's session, I request, even if there are teenagers, I'm not aware how many teenagers are attending this. I want you all to, whatever slides I'm going to show, ये दोनों parties के लिए है. This is for both the parties. Okay, but I am a little, I would say a little biased towards the teenagers because they need champions as well. They need someone to tell them that no, you can. Why you are far better than us. This is something we ought to tell our teenagers. This is something we need to tell our teenagers. We trust you. We know that the future is in good hands. Okay? Every time, समझो अगर मैं आपको बार-बार इधर भी सेशन के टाइम पे बोलूं कि ऐसे मत देखो, कैमरा ठीक रखो, नोट्स बना रहे हो कि नहीं, ये पॉइंट लिखा कि नहीं, how will you feel? You'll feel, what? Is she a speaker or who is she? I don't want to listen to her. Right? So this example is enough for you to understand that parents and teenagers, whatever I'm telling you, try to ask yourself, try to relate it to you, that ये मेरे को कैसे लागू होता है. हाँ, क्या मैं ऐसे करता हूँ, क्या मैं ऐसे करती हूँ. You have to be honest with yourself. Okay, और सबसे important चीज, even if you don't have kids who are teenagers, and if you're attending this session, it's a very good thing, because you get to do a lot of things in advance, and preparation is the key to helping teenagers connect with yourself, right? And in case अगर आपका बच्चा 15-16 साल का है, and if you're going through some issues, तभी भी मैं कहूंगी it's never too late to begin. So ये basic rules आपको ध्यान रखने हैं. And last thing is, nothing happens overnight. ये दही नहीं है कि आपने रात में जामुन डाला. It's not like setting curd. You're setting the curd at night, and in the morning you're getting a nice bowl of curd and you're saying, oh wow, it's delicious. It doesn't happen that way. Parenting is a continuous work. It is consistent efforts. Consistent. It happens for a lifetime. Okay, so even when your kids are 50, you still have that anxiety. You still don't know, oh, did I say, was that right, was that wrong? So this is a continuous lifelong parent, so you are once a parent, always a parent, right? But there are a lot of things that we can learn and we can understand. Next important thing I want you to know is, पहले 5 साल, first 5 years are extremely critical. I'm sure आपके पहले के sessions में the speakers must have highlighted this, that the first 5 years of the kid, the early years, what we call is, they are very important to that connection, to the bonding, to that communication, to the self-esteem of the child, to the personality that the child will get in future. First 5 years are critically important. And all the parents pay a lot of attention in the first 5 years. We are continuously pampering the kids. We are seeing to that, they get every comfort that they want to. Okay, so first 5 years, there's a lot of attention that all kids get. Now 5 to 12 is a critical time, but this is the time when kids also get independent, and parents are so exhausted caring for the kids in the first 5 years that they actually start thinking, God, ab ho gaya, bahut kiya, ab wo khud ka khud kar leta hai. He goes to the school on his own, he takes his own bath, he does everything on his own. And that's where I would say the gap starts, peeping in. That's the first 5 to 12 years. Slowly, unintentionally, बहुत सारे parents अपने बच्चों से दूर होते हैं, because kids are also busy playing on the playgrounds. Everything is like, they are getting their own identity and you are also wanting your own time. So what happens is, वहाँ पे कहीं ना कहीं that 5 to 12 years is a time, and kids are, because of their developmental phases, they are very, what you call is, आप 8-9 साल के बच्चों को देखिए ना, बहुत अल्लड़ होते हैं, as in, they are just into their own world. That emotional connect and all, communication, conversation, not too much. All they want to do is they want to play, they want to eat good, and they want to have fun, right? So during that phase, there is a lot of disconnect, and that disconnect is the foundation for a wider gap as a teenager. And most parents, because most psychologists and all of us, we speak about the first 5 years very strongly. Then we speak about the teenage very strongly. But there's a very critical developmental phase that happens between 5 to 12 years of age, which is actually somewhere unintentionally, for all the reasons. It is somewhere, these kids are ignored. These kids are, we don't really pay attention to their needs because of various reasons. And then suddenly what happens is, one day your kid is into the teenage. He steps into as a teenager. 13th birthday aa jata hai. And when that birthday comes, you're like, oh no, he's a teenager. And you start seeing the heat maybe at the age of 11. The kid is behaving very emotional, touchy, back answers, or is absorbed, self-absorbed, becoming a loner, crying for every small thing. The diet has increased or the diet has decreased. Suddenly the face, the appearance becomes very important. And, then there is something called as cool. I mean, everything has to be cool for these kids. So everything is changing. And you're just saying, oh, nahi, teenage mein ja raha hai na, to theek hai, aise ho raha hai. But you have to know, जब आप 5 और 12 साल के बीच अगर बच्चों के साथ टाइम स्पेंड नहीं करते हो या उनके साथ कनेक्ट नहीं होते हो, जो भी चीज़ें मैं आपको बता रही हूँ आपके लिए हैं, तो ध्यान से सुनिएगा. ये कनेक्शन के अभाव से टीनेज में बच्चे एकदम दूर चले जाते हैं. They kind of go. How you parent your kids between 5 to 12 will define the strength of your connection in teenage years. Okay, and 5 to 12 years they go. First 5 years में हम बच्चों को डांटते नहीं हैं, कुछ भी नहीं बोलते. We are always like yes, 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 yes. And between 5 to 12 हम क्या करते हैं, बच्चों को बहुत ज़्यादा हम instructions देते हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं, वी काइंड ऑफ से ये अच्छा नहीं, अब तुम बड़े हो गए, तुमने ऐसे करना चाहिए, वैसे करना चाहिए. सो किड्स आर absorbing those things, they have their own interpretations, and then they kind of slowly drift away when they become teenagers. Okay, so how do we bridge this gap? Okay, just a minute. बेसिक पेरेंटिंग के लिए आपको ध्यान रखना है, ऑल रूल्स फॉर एनी एज ग्रुप, दैट यू आर टू डिफरेंट सेट ऑफ पीपल. आप दो अलग व्यक्ति हो. Do you expect the same from your colleague when you go in the office, that he or she should always have a good connection, you should always talk nicely, you should always listen to each other? You don't, right? There are two different people involved, the teenager and you. You are two different, unique identities, unique personalities. You have two different stories. आप दोनों के backgrounds अलग है. You belong to one family. You have the common DNA, but your stories are different. How you were raised is different. How this child is raising in what environment is different. There are two different stories. There are two different timelines altogether. आपका बच्चा आपसे 20 साल, 30 साल, 35 साल, 40 साल के गैप है. आपका ऑलरेडी एक एज गैप है. You should always have these things in mind while making decisions about teenagers, while trying to connect with them, while trying to bond with them, while trying to initiate a conversation with them, while trying to forgive them when they are making mistakes, while trying to guide them. You have to remember these ground rules. Next is, there are two different roles. You are a parent and that's your child. It's a teenager. But many times we forget these roles also. Many times we expect, the moment the child gets into the teenage, we expect that the child should start behaving like an adult. You know that? And these days I'm seeing in my clinic, I kind of get cases where kids are like 10 years old, but they're 5'3", 5'4". Their heights are, they're taller. Dr. Archana will be knowing this. They're taller, they're well built. So they look like adults, but we don't realize they're still kids. So because they look like that physically, we have all sorts of expectations from them, right? And we are continuously trying to corner them. Okay, so please remember these ground rules, that these are two different people, and two different people. हम बोलते हैं, right, that in a kitchen you have so many vessels, and बोलते ना in Marathi they say की खूप सारी भांडे असली की ते होतच, म्हणजे आवाज होणारच. So it's like that. So you have to be very what you call is gentle with yourself and gentle with your teenagers. So parenting basics मैंने आपको बताए हैं, basics, that there is no good bad parenting and everything. I hope you have understood. Now let's move on to the parenting styles. I think the next week's speaker will also be speaking. I think he will be able to speak it in more detail. Parenting styles. What is parenting style? हम किस तरीके से, how are we trying to, what approach we are using to raise our kids? What is the approach of communication? What is the approach of engagement? What is the approach of connection? What is the approach of conversations? What is the approach of giving value education? What are the different approaches that are using? Do you hit? Do you scold? Do you always, talk very lovey-dovey to your kids? Do you understand your kids? So parenting style is what sort of a parent, what are the different strategies that you use? आप अलग अलग कौन से मेथड्स यूज करके आपके बच्चे को रेस करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. ओके, और जितने व्यक्ति हैं मेरे हिसाब से, of course psychology में, in psychology they have different parenting styles that are already defined, and there's a lot of research going on. As an individual and a practicing psychologist, I have my view about parenting styles. I believe we have crores and crores of parenting styles because there's so many unique people. Everyone has something different to offer. And we cannot club them. Though I'm trying to explain, मैं आपको कुछ एक basic ढांचा दे रही हूँ, but know that your parenting style is unique. It has to be unique. Okay? And what happens? You read books. You listen to people like us. And then you start, you start trying to fit in. कि मुझे ऐसे ही करना है, वो बुक में ऐसे लिखा था तो मुझे ऐसे ही अपने बच्चे को पेरेंट करना है. But you have to understand. मुझे आप बोलिए सबसे महंगे कपड़े कौन से होते हैं? Which are the clothes, which clothes are more, you can say pricey or expensive? Designer clothes, right? Because they are custom made. They are custom made. And when you go to a mall, जहाँ पे one size fits all and ऐसे टाइप के कपड़े रहते हैं, they are much cheaper. So if you want to make your relationship precious with your child, you have to customize your parenting. Don't rely on books. Don't rely on my advice. Just gather stuff as much as you can. But your environment, your relationship with your partner, your relationship with yourself as a parent, your child, his needs, her needs, all these things, they have to be taken into consideration, and you have to customize your parenting style. Okay, so I will tell you a brief on what are the different parenting styles, but there is no one size fits all thing. That is something I will categorically say, that आपका parenting style आप खुद define कीजिएगा, आपका parenting style आप खुद बनाइएगा, and बहुत मजा आता है. It's too much of fun, you know. And what happens is, because you compare, we are a sandwich generation in a way, right? Our elders, we had a different, you can say, background tha unka. Now this generation is totally different, and we are like a sandwich generation. We have to be in the past plus in the future and the present, so it's a lot of taxation, you know, it taxes us. Don't compare your style with your friends. If you all friends are meeting, मेरे बच्चे को तो मैंने मोबाइल दे दिया है, you know, तो डॉक्टर अर्चना सेज नहीं, मैंने तो अभी तक नहीं दिया. सो साइड से किसी की आवाज आएगी, दूसरे किसी उनके फ्रेंड की, अरे अर्चू अगर तूने नहीं दिया तो देख तेरा बच्चा, यू डोंट नो, ही माइट जस्ट स्टार्ट हेटिंग, आई रेड दैट इन द बुक. एंड देन डॉक्टर अर्चना स्टार्ट्स गेटिंग एंशियस, गोस थिंग्स ऑफ वेरियस थिंग्स, एंड देन शी इज लाइक, बच्चे ने पूछा भी नहीं है, बट शी गोज एंड शी आस्क्स द चाइल्ड, बेटा डू यू थिंक यू नीड अ मोबाइल? Which child will say no to a mobile today? So जैसे peer pressure teenagers को है, parents को भी peer pressure है आज के ज़माने में. There's a lot of peer pressure that parents also have to handle. So be firm on your own values, be firm on your own rules, be firm on what you want to make of your nest, not of your child. आपके बच्चे को क्या बनाना है आप मत डिसाइड कीजिएगा, लेकिन आपके घर का माहौल कैसे रहना चाहिए, आपका बच्चा खुद का लाइफ कैसे आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए, क्या वैल्यूज आप उसको देना चाहते हैं, इस चीज पे गौर कीजिएगा. Got it? So let's see what are the interesting parenting styles. Are you ready? Can you see this? The first one is the authoritative parenting style. Now in the authoritative parenting, सारे parenting styles को हमने अलग अलग कैसे डिफाइन किया है, based on expectations of the parents and how much support the parents offer. So जो authoritative parents होते हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा warm और responsive होते हैं, वो बहुत ज़्यादा लिमिट सेटिंग करते हैं, बट क्लियर लिमिट्स रहता है. जैसे मैं मेरे बच्चे को बोलूँगी कि तुम दोस्तों के साथ जा सकते हो, यू कैन गो आउट, यू कैन मूव अराउंड फ्रीली, बट आई वॉन्ट यू इन एट 6 o'clock बैक होम. आई एम वेरी क्लियर. देर आर नो and I also tell him, share the consequences. If you don't come at 6, then I'm not taking you out for the dinner with family at 8. So there are consequences also, right? Very firm, clear boundaries. Then you have high expectations from the kids. I want my kid to perform. I want my kid to have the best of things. I want my kid to become the best version of himself. So that is an authoritative parent. I want that. But I also want the same things for myself. So I also see to it, am I putting that much effort so that my kid thrives? He just does not grow, but he thrives. Am I putting my time? Like if I'm saying that my child should be connected to me, but am I giving my child that time so that he or she should connect? Okay. So authoritative parents have clear boundaries, and they are high on expectations, and they're very high on support as well. So they are firm, they discipline the child in kind ways, and there's a lot of clarity in communication. Clarity, बहुत ही clear communication होता है. Okay, so that is the hallmark of authoritative parents. Next is the authoritarian. ये tative और tian, ये जो IVE और IAN, इसमें confuse मत होइएगा. Authoritative, firm और clarity. Authoritarian, मैं जो बोलूँ वो पूर्व दिशा. Whatever I say is final. Nothing is going to work. You're going to teach me, तू बाप को सिखाएगा this language. I'm sure बहुत सारे लोग, you know, you guys are now that's playing in your mind. Yes, I did say this to my child. मैंने बहुत बार बोला है. And then we say, तुमको क्या समझता है? अब भी 15 साल के हुए हो, क्या समझता है? कुछ नहीं समझता है. जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ वही करना पड़ेगा. मैंने साइंस बोला है, साइंस ही लेना पड़ेगा. You will have to pick science. You will have to pick maths. You will have to do engineering. So authoritarian parents are, in a way, if I have to say in simple language, they're very dominating, excessively dominating. So what happens is, the kids become, you know, their self-esteem goes down. They cannot make decisions for themselves. They will always have this, you know, lack of confidence. Self-doubt is high in kids whose parenting styles are authoritarian, and the rules are very irrational. So most of the times you have to ask yourself, if you and your teenager are fighting a lot, just reflect back. हर कोई गलती करता है, because we are parenting. How are we parenting? पता है, हमारे माँ बाप ने हमारे साथ जो किया, either we have this that they did the best, I'm going to do the same. छड़ी लागे घम घम विद्या यही whatever XYZ. So हमको लगता है हमारे पेरेंट्स ने मार के सिखाया, तो मार के सिखाने नहीं आएगा, right? So we have the baggage behind us, and we are carrying on that baggage thinking that that's the best thing for my child. Second is, हमको बहुत बार ऐसे लगता है कि no, my parents were very disciplined, I am going to give all freedom to my child. I did not get a cake, anytime. I did not get a cake to eat while I was a child. We were so poor. I'm going to give everything to my child. So our parenting styles are already getting influenced because of our past, our personality, our issues, our problems, our insecurities. So authoritarian, in case if you're having too many fights with your teenager for every simple thing, like आप लोग एक पेज पे आ ही नहीं सकते हो, I'm sure these parents can sit back and see, बहुत बार irrationally अपने बच्चे को डांटा होगा, बहुत बार आपने irrational rules set किए होंगे, like for instance, holidays have started and you are saying no, TV बंद, क्यों बंद? मैंने बोला तो TV बंद, कुछ नहीं, there is no explanation. So these parents don't give explanation, so there is no clarity in communication. The rules are extremely rigid. They're so defined, right? So that is a problem, and obedience is the key word. They want the kids to be obedient. Let's say I'm giving you an example. If as a child I'm going to school and my teacher beats me on my cheek without any reason, whom am I going to come and tell? I'm going to come and tell my mom or my dad, right? So I come and I cry that I did not do anything, but teacher hit me. The first reaction an authoritative parent will give is, oh, that must be really bad. How did you feel? Are you okay? Don't worry. What happened? So that is an authoritative parent's approach. An authoritarian parent, so क्या हुआ? बड़े हैं, मार दिया तो क्या हो गया? तुम्हारे अच्छे के लिए मारा होगा, तुमने जरूर कुछ किया होगा. So this is an authoritarian parent. I hope that's clear, right? So that is an authoritarian parent. Next is the permissive parent or the indulgent parent. So what does a permissive parent do? They are very warm, they're very responsive, they love, all the parents love. Irrespective of your parenting style, all the parents love their kids. So teenagers, please listen to this, okay? They may not know how to do things right as you want, but all the parents love their kids. That's also one of the truths that you need to take with you home today. So permissive parents are warm, they are very responsive, but their expectations are very low. ठीक है, मेरे बच्चे को marks नहीं मिले, मेरे बच्चे को नहीं करना था वो class, छोड़ दिया, I left it. Okay, he does not want to do certain things, it's fine, it's fine. They're very flexible, extremely flexible. So, and even if they set rules, no, if I'm saying, okay, 6 o'clock, you're going to be back home. And when they come back home, an authoritative parent will ask, what happened? What was the main reason that made you late? Don't you think you should have informed us? That would have been an ideal situation. Authoritarian parents then says, no going out with friends for the rest of the year. That is his or her call. And a permissive parent will say, हाँ बेटा बहुत लेट हो गया, I think you enjoyed the party too much, wow, what happened, come tell me. So rules set किया लेकिन follow नहीं किया. बहुत ही flexible rules, बहुत ही, because they don't want to make their children feel bad. They always want to be the child pleasers. And remember, child pleasing is a good thing, or it looks good when the kids are like babies or less than toddlers, I would say. But after that, it has consequences. So today, the rapes that you're seeing in our society, today this culture that you're seeing in our society where everybody is doing whatever hell they want to, is because somewhere everything is permissive, right? There are no rules, there are no boundaries. How do you expect that एक बच्चे को इतना अपने प्यार से पाला है, and when he grows up at the age of 15, he will not ask you for a toffee. He will not ask you for an iPhone. He wants girls or she wants boys, and then what are you going to do? You're getting my point? So you have to understand that your parenting has a social consequence. It's not just आप तक restricted नहीं होता है, right? So आप बच्चे को, these parents are the parents, जिनके बच्चे without license driving कर रहे हैं, they are permissive parents. I would actually want to label it that way. So please stop doing that. That's not good. That's putting your child at the risk. So that is also one thing. And they are also very indulgent. Matlab, the kids become very indulgent kids. Matlab, every birthday has to be grand. Everything. Matlab, very demanding kids ban jate hain. They don't know what efforts it takes to get those things. All they know is to demand and all of that. So that is the impact that the kids will have. Okay. So that is the permissive parenting style. Free range. Free range is again more like permissive, where you are just like, okay, fine, it's your canvas, I'm there, I'll always be supportive, that sort of an attitude. But yes, the rules are clear, so not too much of a difference. And the last one is the uninvolved toxic parenting. This is something that is very common in our country. It used to be common when we were kids also. Uninvolved parenting, toxic parenting is जहाँ पे communication का अभाव है. There is no communication between the parents and kids. The parents are not involved. In my clinic, I have patients and I have teenagers also who come to me for depression and stuff. And when I want to sit with their, there have been times when I sit with the father and I ask him, okay, so which standard is your child studying in? Maybe 10th या 11th में होगा. What is hoga? You stay under the same roof, you are paying for the fees of the child, you don't know which standard your child is studying in. So uninvolved parenting is, again, you don't have any expectations as such. There is warmth and support is also very less कि बच्चा कुछ भी करे हाँ है, मतलब it's a very cold kind of environment. So the limits are very few and again inconsistent. So most adults grow thinking that हमारे parents बहुत cool थे. They were not cool. Today, when I see these people as patients of depression, schizophrenia, paranoia, anxiety issues and all, when we take their case studies, when we try to find the parenting style, we realize that the parents were uninvolved. There is no human touch. There is no communication. You're getting my point? And this is a very toxic way of parenting. This is, I would say, something that I would never recommend anybody. If it is happening, please change that. Don't be an absent parent. You know what is an absent parent? Okay. And I think I also want to say this. There are so many single parents today. They are doing an amazing job. I've seen so many single parents because there's this thing, I have to give the best of both the parents and they are struggling a lot. So single parents, in one of the studies, it was found that single parents are able to bond well with their kids because again, there is this dynamic, right? कि एक ही बंदा decide कर रहा है, दूसरा बंदा नहीं है. And when there is mother and father, please know there are two different parenting styles that are in the picture. So it's very confusing for your child. And what happens, we say na nahi maa se zyada close hai because the mother is authoritative parenting style most of the times in Indian families, and fathers are supposed to be authoritarian, dominating, right? But children get sandwiched, they get confused, and it disrupts the entire equation. So as couples, I recommend that always sit and talk your options out, discuss with each other that how are you going to handle your kids. And these parenting styles, मतलब ऐसे नहीं बोल सकती हूँ आज मैं अथॉरिटेरियन हूँ और मैं हमेशा जिंदगी भर अथॉरिटेरियन रहूंगी. I'll be authoritarian parent throughout my life. No, it doesn't work. You have to be, I told you, customization. Try to use it as per. So during the holidays, you can be a little permissive and an indulgent approach where you're allowing them a little TV time, a little food from outside, a little hanging out with their friends, supervised because of their age. So you can do all that, right? But authoritarian, again, is low on my account because you should give this generation, do you ever imagine? I mean, I'm very close to many teenagers, thankfully, because they volunteer with us, we work with them. They openly share so many things with counselors. Why they don't do it with the parents? Because there is no offering of a non-judgmental space. And parents should remind themselves, आप भी कभी teenager थे, आपने भी किसी लड़की को देखा होगा, आपने भी क्लास में टीचर को सताया होगा. We all have gone through it. Suddenly, why to expect such irrational stuff from our kids and teenagers, right? So these are the parenting styles. Okay. Next is, what type of parent are you? Okay. Are you a lawnmower? Most of the times, lawnmower parents are, बच्चे के रास्ते में, they don't want any obstacle to come. Okay. They don't want obstacles. They don't want to talk to them about death. They don't want to talk to them about anything critical. They don't want that the child should have any problem at all. So let's say one day your child is forgetting the tiffin and going to school. One day, what happens in the house? You run helter skelter from one end of the city to the other end of the city. You just drive to take that dabba there, and you want to give that tiffin to the kid, or you're trying to do everything that you can, right? So that is a lawnmower. One day, if your child does not have a tiffin by mistake, it's okay, right? He will try to find a figure. Maybe he'll talk to his friends and say, I forgot my tiffin. Maybe he'll make new friends. Maybe his friends will share. Maybe he'll be a little hungry and say, okay, jo bacha complain karta tha, he'll say, Mama, I missed your food today. I did not have anything to eat. So we don't allow kids to, kind of find their own solutions. We are always ready-made, so that is a lawnmower parent. Ask yourself, are you doing that? If you're doing that, please stop it. You're just crippling. It's like, the caterpillar turns into a butterfly and it flaps its wings, right? Cocoon se bahar aane ke pehle, it's only flapping the wings. So if you think कि वो cocoon को मैं ऐसे खुद से ही फाड़ के देता हूँ so that वो easily उड़ जाएगा, no, the butterfly will never be able to fly again. So don't try to interfere into the kid's life by providing them ready-made solutions. Armchair parent, मतलब आराम से बैठ के देखना है, बाबा बच्चा कुछ भी करे ठीक है, जो है कर रहा है करने दो आराम से. It's more like, the permissive, indulgent kind of parenting where you're just not concerned. Next is the helicopter parenting. Because of the screen time and because of the screens, gadgets, technology and all, most parents are now and because of the unsafe situations also, because the situations are socially very unsafe, so most parents are getting very anxious, and what they do is they kind of like a helicopter continuously hovering around your child's head. Kya kar raha hai? Breathing on the neck of the child. Tu kya kar raha hai? Tumne ye kiya kya? Tumne wo kiya kya? Don't do that as well. You want to know every detail of the child. You're trying to crack the Facebook to get the password. You're trying to make a separate account and go onto the page and see what your child is interacting with others. I mean, I have seen parents go to extreme lengths just to keep a watch on their kids. Don't do that. That's not needed. Last type is the lighthouse parent. Lighthouse parent is a very important thing because lighthouse parent is like the lighthouse in the sea, which is showing the way to the ships in the sea while navigating. Navigate करते समय जो मतलब जिन ships को रास्ता नहीं मिलता है, ये lighthouse की वजह से उनको दिशा मिल जाती है. So lighthouse parenting is more like coaching, more like helping the child trying to achieve on his own. So lighthouse parenting अगर आप कर रहे हैं, अगर आप बच्चे के साथ supportive हैं, that's one of the best things that you can be. So again, you have to incorporate. So आपको styles को blend करना है और साथ में काम करना है. Are we clear? So let's move on to the next thing. Parenting में सबसे important चीज है, ये 4 ingredients मैं आपको बता रही हूँ. One is communication, second is connection. Okay, most Indian families, again I'm saying, the conversations are only about did you go, did you come, did you attend this class, have you eaten this, okay, what time should I drop you? So there is no real time conversation, there's no connection as such. It's very mechanical conversation. So please avoid that. Have a proper emotional connect with your child. Okay, consideration. Teenagers and kids and parents should be considerate towards each other. If the teenagers are listening to me, please consider why your parent is not asking you to do something. Please consider why they are pushing you for something. So that consideration for each other is very important. And collaboration. So parents and teens have to know that it's a collaboration to make life better. If you're going to be very disjoint and say, "Nahi, ma'am, I don't agree to what my parents say all the time, they are saying like this," then it's a big, big mistake. You're losing out on a lot. So parents and teenagers must communicate, connect, consider each other's point of views and collaborate together. Kids and teenagers are very close to their teachers. They're close to the counselors. They open up. But when it comes to parents, I don't know, there is a huge gap. That is because none of them, neither the teenagers nor the parents, they are not being considerate towards each other's demands, needs, realities, pressures, burdens, and there is no empathy. मतलब सामने वाले की जगह रखकर हम खुद को सोच ही नहीं रहे हैं. We are just obsessed about ourselves. And it's so common because abhi it's like the Instagram ka world. Everyone is so self-obsessed, everyone is so narcissistic कि कितने likes आए मेरा picture, all that is happening. whether it's the parents or the kids. But I think it's time that we collaborate with each other. So think about it. And how you do all this with your parenting styles is going to impact the strength of your relationship. Are we clear? आपका जो relationship का strength है उस पे define होगा. आपने देखा है, I would like to say this to the teenagers and the parents also. You've seen this pandemic has just hit us. It has hit us in a very it caught us like unaware. हम लोग अपनी अपनी दुनिया में गुम थे and suddenly the pandemic happened. And what survived in the pandemic is close connections. It was difficult. You know, I had patients who were like, I cannot stay with my family because of the lockdown. It's stressing me out. Because of the lockdown, we are all locked together. So you can imagine there must be such a huge gap in connection between the parents and the kids, between the spouses, between all of us. And it was difficult to kind of, sehna. So it's not just initially before the pandemic, we would only have bahus who would talk that about their sasumas, or sasumas talking like that about their bahus. Most of the times those were the cases, or about husband wives. But now what we got was a different scene. Kids were talking like this about their parents. Parents were talking about their parents. It was all a mess. Okay. So please consider all these things. Always ask yourself, am I connected? If I'm talking, is my purpose to connect with my child? Am I being considerate when he or she is giving me a suggestion? Are we really communicating enough? Are we collaborating on things? There has to be these deep questions that you need to ask yourself. So the next part that I'm going to take you through is, what are the barriers to what you call is parent-teen gap or the communication gap? Unsolicited advices. बच्चों को ये बहुत ज्यादा ओवर लगता है, हर चीज में एडवाइस करते हैं हम लोग. यू हैव टू नो दैट दे आर डेवलपिंग, दे ऑल्सो वांट टू सॉल्व देयर ओन इश्यूज. आप कंटिन्यूस एडवाइसेस दे रहे हो, सो दैट इज नॉट फेयर. सेकंड इज ओवर एंड अंडर रिएक्शन. बहुत बार ऐसे होता है कि हम इतना ओवर रिएक्ट करते हैं ना. फॉर इंस्टेंस, लेट्स से अ किड गेट्स हिज और हर फ्रेंड होम and you are supposed to have work or go somewhere out, and because the child has come, the friend has come, you have to cook and you have to do everything, and then after the friend goes, you are like, आप बर्तन पटक रहे हो, ऐसे तुला सांगून येता येत नाही का, you should have told me, you should have got this person, you should have informed me. So our overreactions is something that teenagers cannot handle. Okay, our underreactions also are not good. Sometimes we give silent treatment to our kids, and sometimes teenagers also give silent treatment to the parents. It's a very bad way of communicating. You should always talk openly. Okay, I have this issue. Can we talk this out? मुझे इस चीज से दिक्कत हो रही है, क्या हम बात कर सकते हैं? This is the kind of communication that needs to happen in our family, so that the mental health of all is in place. Okay, non-verbal messages. हम बोल रहे हैं, okay, go with your friends, but हम ऐसे बोल रहे हैं ना कि ठीक है, जा अपने दोस्तों के साथ जा. So that smirk, that body language is communicating something different. So आपका body language और आपके intentions कुछ और है और आपके words कुछ और हैं. So the kids do not like that. Next is labeling behaviors. जैसे parents बच्चों को label करते हैं कि ऐसा ही है, lazy है, आलसी है, unhygienic है, बात ही नहीं करता है, पढ़ाई नहीं करता है, whatever label, dumb है. Parents actually talk like this. I have seen that. So don't label your kids. So those barriers में सबसे important चीज है labeling behaviors. And kids also label their parents. It's not just parents labeling teenagers. Teenagers also label, my parents are not cool. These days there's a growing trend where kids do not want their parents to come to school unless they are like well dressed or modern or fall into that category. What you can imagine that what sort of connection do you have with your family if you are embarrassed about the way they dress up, embarrassed about the way they talk, or embarrassed about the fact that they cannot speak in English? I would say it's time that teenagers also understand that this is the world that you're staying in. The social media thing is not the real world, my children. Your real people are your parents. They are your go-to people. So your family matters. So if your father is going to come in a dhoti to your school meeting, you should be proud that he's holding his own, right? You're getting my point. He's not being a wannabe, a townie. Okay, so just know this. So don't label behaviors. Nagging. Parents, please stop nagging. Continuous nagging is another thing. Prescribing ready-made solution is another barrier. Lecturing. God, just don't do this. This is a different generation altogether. And you also have to know that it's not just the social scenario. The kids are physically developing. Their brain, neurologically, physically, psychologically, in every which way, there's a lot of there are a lot of changes and transitions that are happening in the body. I mean, or it's an IMA forum, so I'm sure you know, their cerebral cortex, this part of the brain that is responsible for decision making, clear rational thinking, is still not developed. They are totally overtaken by this limbic system here. मतलब जो दिमाग में एक हिस्सा होता है लिम्बिक सिस्टम, जो इट्स ऑल इमोशनल कनेक्शंस को वो ड्राइव करता है. ओके, सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज व्हेन ऑल दीज इमोशनल कनेक्शंस के बारे में ही सब कुछ बात होती है, जो अमाइगडाला है, देयर इज वन ऑर्गन which senses threat. अगर टाइगर दिखा तो अपने को भागने का रिएक्शन देगा या whatever. So किड्स के अंदर ये सारे प्रोसेसेस डेवलप हो रहे हैं, they are not developed. And the teenage, what is happening is the amygdala and the limbic system are very active. So that's why kids are so emotional. So for them, it's not the tiger that is the threat immediately. So the amygdala, parents जोर से बात करते हैं, so that is a threat. So then they react in defense because they're afraid. You have to know this. This is basic and this is science. I'm not saying this with my own heart. So they just kind of react. So for them, you know, तुमको लगता होगा कि why they're paying so much attention to looks. So one pimple is a big threat to their personality. So that amygdala reacts, they cry and they're trying to fix it and they come to you and then you are like, hey, kuch bhi nahi hai. Don't do that. So you have to know that the cerebral cortex, this part is not ready, and that's why they get into relationships, they move out, they're not sure about career, and teenagers are mostly grounded in the present. जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना, young kids at the age of 1-2, you tell them one thing, don't do this, after 10 minutes they will do the same thing, not because they want to trouble you, but the brain is still working, it's still getting a hang of it, they don't remember. Similarly, even for the teenagers, they want to talk about the present. They can only, their brain in a way psychologically can only kind of manage the present. So if you want to talk to them about 1 week or a second week, life mein, career, and wait, hang on, it will happen. Step by step, it will happen, right? And you did not pay attention for the first 12 years. How many marks, what academics, and suddenly you want your child to get into IITs. What sort of expectation is this? Be realistic. And don't lecture them for anything, because then the brain is they're just shut. You're talking, that you think that they're listening, they're not listening. The amygdala just actually thinks that it's what you call is it's a threat. So वो लोग सुनेंगे नहीं आपकी बात. ये पार्ट डेवलप नहीं है, ये पार्ट यहाँ पे बहुत सारा डेवलपमेंट चालू है, उस चीज का आपको ध्यान जरूर रखना पड़ेगा. ओके, सो द नेक्स्ट इज कंपेयरिंग. अपने बच्चों को दूसरे बच्चों के साथ, खुद को दूसरे पेरेंट्स के साथ, खुद के बच्चे को खुद के स्पाउस के साथ मत कंपेयर करना. बहुत बार ऐसे होता है, हमारा अपने स्पाउस के साथ झगड़ा चलता रहता है, गुस्से को लेकर, आदतों को लेकर, यू नो, वी डू दैट. और हम अचानक क्या करते हैं, हम अपने बच्चे को बोलते हैं, हम क्या बोलते हैं बच्चे को, हम बच्चे को बोलते हैं कि तू बिल्कुल तेरे बाप पे गया है, तुम बिल्कुल अपनी माँ की जैसी हो. डोंट डू दैट. ये बहुत गलत बात है. इससे कैसे होता है ना, आपका कम्युनिकेशन, आपका कॉन्वर्सेशन, आपका कनेक्शन वीक होते जाता है. वाईफाई का कनेक्शन स्ट्रांग रहे ना रहे, बच्चों के साथ कनेक्शन बहुत स्ट्रांग मेंटेन कीजिएगा, एंड उसके लिए टाइम देना जरूरी है. एफर्ट्स एज अ पेरेंट, खुद को बहुत सीखना है, ये बात हमेशा ध्यान में रखिएगा. ओके, सो दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नेक्स्ट इज ब्लेमिंग. ब्लेम गेम तो बिल्कुल नहीं. बच्चा अगर कुछ चीज खुद से करता है, फेल होके आता है, और आप उसको तुरंत बोलते हैं मैंने बोला था इस प्रोजेक्ट को ऐसे करना है. ओके, जो लोग भी हाथ रेस कर रहे हैं, हम क्वेश्चंस एंड में लेंगे. वी विल टेक द क्वेश्चंस इन द एंड. ओके, सो प्लीज वेट. इंटरोगेशन, हमको ऐसे लगता है कि मैं बच्चे को पूछ रही हूँ, हाउ वॉज योर डे, वॉट वॉज योर डे लाइक, बट वट इज हैपनिंग इज वी आर नॉट आस्किंग हिम हाउ वॉज इट. सो दिन कैसे था, कौन मिली थी, कौन सी टीचर ने क्या बोला. सो आप प्रोबिंग ऑफिसर मत बनना. हैव ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चंस. आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू मोर टिप्स. दिस इज जस्ट द बैरियर्स. रॉन्ग टाइमिंग. बच्चा थक के घर पे आया है, एंड द फर्स्ट थिंग यू वांट टू टेल हिम इज, यू नो, वो दरवाजे के अंदर भी एंटर नहीं किया है, तुमने देखा तुम्हारा रूम सुबह ऐसे ही सब फेंक के गए थे. टाइमिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बॉस, बहुत जरूरी है, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. डिस्ट्रैक्शंस. पेरेंट्स खुद बहुत डिस्ट्रैक्टेड रहते हैं. पेरेंट्स themselves are very distracted with screen time, excessive socialization, being workaholic parents also, they are in a way distracted only because they don't know what's happening. So this is another barrier. And even kids के लिए भी वही है, they are too involved into their friends. Okay, so that can happen. So being dismissive, you know, see, I am coming and telling Archana ma'am, I think, we need to do this whole mission pink thing in a different way. And the first thing she's, who are you? Why are you telling me? I don't want to listen to it. That's being dismissive, right? I'm sure she won't do that. She's a very accommodating person and a very good listener. So that is how it is. हम parents करके बहुत बार बच्चों को dismiss करते हैं. Same teenagers also do that. Just because it's coming from parents, they will not listen. The same thing the counselor will tell them, the same thing the teacher will tell them, they will listen immediately with a smile. Don't do that with each other. Ignoring difficult conversations. I had one case where one child, one girl was being sexually abused by the tuition teacher. The tuition teacher tuition teacher's husband. So it was a private tuition, so she would go to their place. The spouse, the husband, जो husband है teacher का, उसने वो बच्ची के अंडरपैंट्स में हाथ डाला, एंड द चाइल्ड केम होम. उसको समझा नहीं क्या करना है, 9 या 10 साल की बच्ची है. ओके, शी केम होम एंड द फर्स्ट थिंग इज शी वेंट एंड टोल्ड मॉम, आई डोंट वांट टू गो टू दैट ट्यूशन, बिकॉज वो बंदे ने ऐसे, ही काइंड ऑफ पुट हिज हैंड्स इन माय पैंट्स. सो माँ का रिएक्शन क्या होना चाहिए, एज अ पेरेंट क्या होना चाहिए? यू शुड नो मोर अबाउट इट, यू शुड अश्योर योर चाइल्ड, यू शुड ट्रस्ट योर चाइल्ड, राइट? अचानक से कोई बच्चा आकर ऐसी कंप्लेंट तो नहीं करेगा. But it is very uncomfortable, right, for the parent to get to hear something like this, just like a bouncer. So वो parent ने क्या किया, ठीक है हम इसके बारे में खाने के बाद बात करते हैं. She just postponed it. खाना होने के बाद वो बच्ची वापस गई, तो वो बोलती है कि नहीं हम रात में बात करते हैं, मैं बिजी हूँ. रात में जाके अब वो बच्ची बोल रही है वापस. रात में जाने के बाद जब बच्ची ने बोला, तो माँ ने उसको ये बोला कि तुझे गलतफहमी हुई होगी, उसने तुम्हारे पेट पे हाथ लगाया होगा. एंड वो बच्ची आज मेरे क्लिनिक में एक 42 ईयर ओल्ड करके एक लेडी है जो डिप्रेशन के साथ लड़ रही है. दिस वन इवेंट इज अ बिग ट्रॉमा टू हर. शी इज लाइक, अ 10 year old डज नॉट नो व्हाट इज इनसाइड एंड व्हाट इज आउटसाइड एंड व्हाट इज द स्टमक. बॉडी पार्ट्स तो मुझे भी पता है. सो हियर द पेरेंट वाज डिसमिसिव एंड इग्नोरिंग डिफिकल्ट कॉन्वर्सेशंस. Many times financially also I see parents do not tell the kids about finances. You must. घर में क्या प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है, आपका रिलेशनशिप क्राइसिस चल रहा है, यू मस्ट टॉक अबाउट दीज थिंग टू योर टीनेजर्स एंड किड्स एंड ऑल्सो लिसन टू देम. दे हैव सम अमेजिंग थिंग्स टू टेल यू. सो डोंट इग्नोर डिफिकल्ट कॉन्वर्सेशंस. मिसमैनेज एक्सपेक्टेशंस. एक्सपेक्टेशंस अलग ही रहती है, टीनेजर्स की अलग है, पेरेंट्स की अलग है, एंड नोबडी इज ट्राइंग टू मैनेज एक्सपेक्टेशंस बट दे आर डूइंग एवरीथिंग एल्स. नेक्स्ट इज पेरेंटल टेंडेंसी टू फिक्स थिंग्स. जैसे मैंने बोला है, फ्री रेडीमेड सॉल्यूशंस मत दिया करो बच्चों को. Non-acknowledgement of gaps. मतलब parents, most of the times kids feel that there is a gap, but parents like, no, I love him so much. See, loving your child is not equal to the width of the gap. It can never be. They are two different things. Okay, so you can love your child, but you also have to acknowledge that there is a gap in connection. There is a gap in engagement. There is a gap in the way we talk. There is that gap. जब तक आप accept नहीं करोगे कि gap है, and I'm sure aaj bhi the parents who have signed in, most of the parents have come with this mentality, I'm a troubled parent, I don't know what to do, and my child is troubling me and I need some answers to this thing. Excuse me, it's about both. जब झगड़ा होता है ना, जैसे मियाँ बीवी में भी दोनों भी पार्टी होते हैं, दोनों भी रिस्पॉन्सिबल होते हैं. Similarly, for the parent teenager gap, both of you are responsible. More so, parents should take the responsibility of that gap, because not blame yourself, I'm saying take the responsibility, because you're the adult in that relationship and your child is a minor. Okay, next is discounting transitions. जो मैंने आपको brain development का बोला है, body development को लेकर बोला है. बहुत सोते हैं बच्चे as teenagers because there's so much of energy. The doctors will be able to tell you, they are more sleepy, they become a little lethargic, their body composition is changing, and there are so many things. What you can do is you can keep them active, but don't nag them, don't body shame them. Wait for that time. Connection आ जाता है, अपने आप आपके बच्चे आपकी बात को समझेंगे. Point is not that your children should listen to you. Please forget that, remove that from your head. The point is that your children should understand what you're trying to say. It's not about you as a parent. It's not that you are here and kids are here. It's like both of you are like this. If you are like this, everything will work. Then gaslighting, बाप रे, ये भयंकर है. एक बच्चा आकर, आई मीन इट हैपेंस विद एडल्ट्स राइट, कोई लड़का आके बोलता है कि मुझे इस लड़की से प्यार हो गया, मुझे शादी करनी है, तो पूरा खानदान गैस लाइटिंग पे उतर आता है। तेरे को पता है उस लड़की का कैरेक्टर कैसा है, तेरे को पता है वो लड़का कमाता ही नहीं है। There's so much of gaslighting, you know, gaslighting का मतलब है जो चीजें सही नहीं है हम उसको इतने बार रिपीट करते हैं ताकि सामने वाला उस चीज में बिलीव करने लगता है। पेरेंट्स डोंट डू दिस प्लीज, इट रूइंस लाइव्स। इट मतलब सबकी एक एक लाइफ है, आपकी एक लाइफ है तो आपके बच्चे की भी एक लाइफ है, राइट? सो allow them to live their life, live and see, I'm telling you, the coming years is going to see a huge change when they are going to select their life partners, their careers and everything. So you have to be prepared for that change. And next is emotional blackmailing again. If you don't do this, then I will die. If you don't do this, this happens so much. तूने ये नहीं किया तो अपनी माँ का मरा मुंह देखेगा. This is emotional blackmailing. Don't do that with the kids at all. So this is very important. And the last thing is the criticism part. कितना criticize करते हैं हम बच्चों को? Don't you think so? Yes? करते हैं कि नहीं करते हैं? Lack of empathy. बिल्कुल एक दूसरे के लिए empathy नहीं है. And there is this, you have to know again another truth, that kids are very good with what you call as देखना. उनको जो देखते हैं वो समझते नहीं. They are very good observers but they are very bad interpreters because again of the brain development, different scenarios. Now what are you going to do? आज का सेशन होने के बाद आप क्या करने वाले हो? आज का सेशन होने के बाद आप अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ बैठोगे, पेरेंट्स अपने बच्चों के साथ बैठेंगे. सबसे पहले लिस्ट बनानी है इन चीजों की जहां पे आपको लगता है कि गैप्स है. मैंने स्टाइल्स के बारे में बताया है, मैंने बैरियर्स के बारे में आपको बताया है, मैंने बहुत सारी चीजें आपको ऑलरेडी समझाई है. Now all you need to do is you just have to go home and you have to sit there and you have to ask yourself कि मेरी तरफ से क्या क्या कमियां हैं या मेरी तरफ से मैं और क्या अच्छा काम कर सकता हूँ. So that is the first list you make. Okay? वो लिस्ट होने के बाद डिसाइडेड टाइम और पूरी फैमिली बैठकर, आपके छोटे बच्चों को भी ले सकते हो. दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टूल. स्टॉप स्टार्ट कंटिन्यू, एक्सपेक्टेशन मैनेजमेंट. हर बंदा, जैसे इफ आई एम देयर, माई हस्बैंड इज देयर एंड माई डॉटर इज देयर हु इज अ टीनेजर. So all of us, I will write what I am expecting from my daughter, what I want her to stop, what I want her to start. 3 things. ये महीने में क्या करना है, 3 छोटी छोटी चीजें और एकदम कॉन्क्रीट चीजें होनी चाहिए. ऐसा बोलते ना मोगम में बात नहीं करना. इट शुड नॉट बी अ क्लाउडी थिंग. इट शुड बी अ वेरी क्लियर डिस्क्रिप्शन. Okay, I want you to just tidy your room. That's or stop keeping your room messy. That is one thing I want you to stop. 2 things or 3 things, not more than that. Then you say, what are you going to start something new? नया क्या शुरू करेंगे? Okay, I want you to have your evening prayers. As a child, you are expecting that from her, maybe. So you're just writing, okay, fine. Start में वो कर रहे हो. Continue. Continue is something that you're doing good already. What is it that you want to continue? Just 2 things. And this exercise, every month, the family should do it. So parents are asking the child will also give you the same. Mama, what I want you to stop, start and continue. Daddy, this is what I want you to stop, start and continue. And you can do it with yourself also. As a parent, what do I want to stop? What do I want to start? And what do I want to continue? It's an amazing tool and I want you to start using this. I hope you have understood it. So time बहुत कम है. नेक्स्ट इज, सबके पास डाइनिंग टेबल होता है. एक छोटा सा आपको जार लेना है, बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स, अलग अलग टॉपिक्स, नथिंग रिलेटेड, यू नो, कि बच्चा मेसी रूम रखता है और वो सब नहीं. नो पर्सनल टॉपिक्स. व्हाट आर यू गोइंग टू टेक? यू गोइंग टू टेक सिंपल थिंग्स, यू नो, लाइक आई लाइक टू आपने सिर्फ लिखा चिट्ठी में. सो आई लाइक टू व्हाट. सो सेकंड इज माय फेवरेट फूड. थर्ड इज सिंपल, एकदम हल्के फुल्के टॉपिक्स. Okay, or let's say sometimes, like for my daughter, we did this also, my first crush, because she is also getting into the teens. We want to listen to what she has in her mind. So and क्या हो गया, ये जार को आपको रखना है टेबल पे. बहुत सारी चिट्ठियों पे टॉपिक्स लिखने हैं. डोंट राइट अबाउट इकोनॉमिक्स, पॉलिटिक्स एंड सोशल टॉपिक्स. सिंपल टॉपिक्स, सिंपल कॉन्वर्सेशन स्टार्टर्स. आप गूगल पे जाएंगे, आपको बहुत सारे हजारों टॉपिक्स मिलेंगे जो आप अपने टीनेजर्स के साथ बात कर सकते हो. आप इस चीज को यूज कर सकते हो. टेबल पे रखो, डाइनिंग टेबल पे. इंस्टेड ऑफ टीवी से दूर रहो. गैजेट, इवन रुजुता दिवेकर सेज दिस, राइट? टीवी बंद करो, गैजेट्स बंद करो. कूल डिनर टाइम पे सिर्फ ये खोलना है, एक टॉपिक निकालना है हर एक को और उस पे बस बात करनी है. एंड हैव फन. That's how you will connect. इनिशियली टीनेजर्स आपके रेजिस्ट करेंगे, क्या व्हाट इज दिस सो स्टूपिड, कहीं तो देखा होगा, कोई तो होगी काउंसलर, उसने आके बोला होगा, आई मीन इट्स सो अनकूल. लेट इट बी, यू स्टार्ट, दे विल जॉइन, दे विल लाफ, यू नो. सो इट विल बिगिन स्लोली. एकदम ओवरनाइट कुछ चेंज नहीं होगा, बट बी परसिस्टेंट. ओके, दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. अचार की बाटली के साथ ये एक बॉटल रख देना और उसमें बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स रखना है आपको. Okay, I can give you like 100 tips like this, but we don't have time. I'm giving you some very important tips quickly. This is the last segment of our this thing. Listen to this carefully. Listen to your kids. Don't what do you call this? Don't just be there physically. Actively listen. Listen to understand them. Listen to talk less. Listen more. Reflect. वो क्या बोल रहे हैं उनको बोलो कि अच्छा मैंने ये सुना तुमसे. Is this what you mean? Rephrase it. So listen empathetically, listen actively, be there in that moment. बच्चा बोल रहा है and आप ऐसे 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 मोबाइल पे सर्व करो, that will not do. Don't be distracted at all. आपका टोन कैसा है बहुत मैटर करता है. जैसे बच्चे का टोन मैटर करता है, आपका टोन, आपका बॉडी लैंग्वेज, एवरीथिंग. सो be very mindful of listening to your kids. Be persistent. Persistence का मतलब है don't quit. Be persistent to connect. मतलब don't take it personally. I went to his room in the morning, I took a coffee for my son and he just said, mama, close the door, keep the coffee and go. So you're feeling very bad as a mother. Oh, I went to connect and what happened? It's okay. Don't give up. It will take time. It will happen at its own place. So whatever it is, don't quit from communicating. Don't quit from you can say connecting with your child. Don't quit with the thing that you have to engage with your child. Don't quit in the timing के बारे में हमेशा ध्यान दीजिएगा. एंड इट इज अ कंटिन्यूस थिंग. आप 4-5 साल काम करोगे, अचानक एक दिन कुछ ऐसा मोमेंट आएगा, यू विल गेट सच अ ब्यूटीफुल मोमेंट विथ योर टीनेजर. You will then realize, good that I did not quit. Most parents quit. That is also an issue. They get frustrated and they say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore because my child is like, उसको कुछ कदर ही नहीं है. ऐसे नहीं है. Why are you doing it? You're doing it because you want to connect for a lifetime. It's not just about this part. Okay? So that connection is very important. Acknowledge and validate. When your child comes to you, you should allow them. बहुत बार ऐसे होता है कि बच्चे बाहर का कुछ आते हैं, they want to talk a lot. किसी के बारे में बुरा बोलना चाहते हैं. बुरा as in they have got a bad experience. So they want to say, no, that teacher, she was horrible. She did this to me. Or that sir, or that my friend of mine, he was so mean to me. Allow them to vent. Allow them to talk. Allow them to express their feelings and emotions. Okay? So you should acknowledge, yes, I understand how you feel. Yes, I totally get it. It must be feeling so bad. Okay? So that is very, very important. So next is embrace the stop ignoring difficult conversations. Stop ignoring difficult conversations is, I have already explained it. जो भी conversation आता है टेबल पे, you must take that. आपके बच्चे को ऐसे नहीं लगना चाहिए, oh this topic my parents cannot talk. Difficult conversations का मतलब ये भी होता है कि things like intimacy, things like sex, things like dating, things like religion sometimes, things like politics. If your child has an opinion, please talk to it. Now बहुत बार ऐसे हो रहा है कि I have seen families, I'm being very open, parents शायद कांग्रेस के हैं और बच्चे बीजेपी के हैं. उस चीज को लेके भी वाद विवाद होता है घर पे. So I think you should be able to tell your child you can talk about anything and I don't want you to force my views on you. Okay? Offer them an emotional space. Be such a good listener that they should feel कि अगर मुझे कुछ भी बोलना है, मुझे कुछ भी ये करना है, I have to be there. और ये emotional space आप तभी दे पाओगे जब आप उनके साथ वक्त बिताओगे, जब आप उनके लिए प्रेजेंट रहोगे, जब आप उनके साथ रहने की कोशिश करोगे. एम्ब्रेस द चेंज एंड ट्रांजिशन का मतलब होता है कि जो भी उनके बॉडी में चेंजेस हो रहे हैं, उनके विचारों में, their beliefs are changing, their ways are changing. You have to understand that if there are 10 things that are changing, at least 6 you should be able to embrace and accept it for whatever it is. Maybe your child is dressing in a way that is totally different from what you expected. Allow that to happen. I had a case where a girl wanted to always wear Indian wear, that salwar kameez and all, and the parents were too modern. So they were not able to accept that. They were continuously asking her to wear shorts and minis or whatever, and that was taxing the girl. So don't force each other to choose what you want. Don't pass your stress, your past, your personality issues, your insecurities, कि आपके बचपन में क्या हुआ है. Don't pass that stress through your parenting style to your children. I've already told you, don't probe your kids and create little rituals. Little rituals का मतलब होता है कि छोटी छोटी चीजें होती हैं. Like if I ask you, what is one thing that you remember with your parents when you were a child? You will automatically tell me that yes, I do remember that evening हम लोग दिया लगाते थे, फिर हम लोग शुभम करोति बोलते थे, that is of evening prayer, and हम सब इकट्ठा होते थे, and my mom would give us something to eat, some prasad or something. This is a ritual. This is a religious ritual, right? उसी तरीके से parenting rituals होना चाहिए. Like I have this ritual with my younger kid where I have to wake up, and whenever he wakes up, whatever I'm doing, so I have to hug him, and we just hug each other and be like that for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Throughout the day, if I'm not available, it's fine for him. But those 10-15 minutes, he totally enjoys it. I totally enjoy it. या सोते वक्त जब हम stories बोलते हैं. But with teenagers, what can you do? There are many rituals that you can create. One Saturday, coffee. Like I know one of my close friends, Nitin Bhaiya, Dr. Nitin Rathi, he had this ritual of going on a coffee with his daughter every Friday evening. Now his daughter has gone to Ahmedabad for further studies. You should see how devastated this man is and how devastated the daughter is because they cannot take coffee with each other. And then the daughter actually online उसने coffee का online coffee order करके घर पे coffee भेजी first time वहाँ से. So you have to have these rituals which make you feel connected. If you would meet that daughter, तुमको ऐसे लगता कि अरे यार this is वो लोग दोनों बात भी नहीं करते हैं, कुछ भी नहीं है, they are not probably emotionally that कनेक्टेड भी होंगे नहीं होंगे, बहुत प्रैक्टिकल बात करते हैं. लड़की तो बहुत ही प्रैक्टिकल लगती है, बट शी क्राइड एंड she cried so much. She is also a teenager. So create these small rituals with the teenagers, and teenagers also should try to do that with the parents. That is very, very important. Next is do things together. Painting. And I believe with teenagers what works best is, आपको बचपन में डांस करने नहीं मिला है. Go with your teenager, join the class. Who's stopping you? Why are you worried what people will say? Do those classes, do whatever you want to with your children together. Express yourself too. As a parent, express your fears. Express your anxieties as a person. Express your heartbreaks to your children. They are very good listeners. And they connect, They then realize, oh no, mom, maybe that's why mom yells so much. Okay? And when I spoke about speak difficult conversation, it's the duty of the parents to talk to kids because it's a teenage time for kids and it's a menopausal time for the mothers. It's a very lethal combination. Two people struggling with hormones are like locked together. So, but when you talk to teenagers about how things are during the premenopausal and postmenopausal phase, they cooperate tremendously and it's a very good connecting experience. So talk, express yourself, apologize and forgive. Do you say sorry to your kids? I say sorry like, I think at least 10 to 50 times a day. सिंपल थिंग्स सिंपल थिंग्स में सॉरी बोलना सीखिए पेरेंट्स करके भी. एंड जब बच्चे माफी मांगते हैं, डोंट स्ट्रेच इट, डोंट च्यू इट लाइक तूने ऐसे किया डिसिप्लिन के चक्कर में. डोंट डू दैट, प्लीज डोंट डू दैट. आई नो सब पेरेंट्स के इंटेंशंस बहुत अच्छे हैं, आप उनको सिखाना चाहते हो, बट रिमेंबर दिस जनरेशन इज गोइंग टू लर्न विद देयर ओन एक्सपीरियंस. दे डोंट बिलीव इन योर एक्सपीरियंस एंड माई एक्सपीरियंस. They will listen to our experiences, but they will do what they find is. And they're very rational. The best part I find about this generation, गाँव में जाती हूँ, शहरों में जाती हूँ, international, like I said, our friends from Philippines are also here. We talk to, international teenagers also. They are very rational. They are very unbiased. They are very open. They are not like, अब हमारा कैसे जो माँ बाप ने सोचा वही हम सोचते जाते हैं. They are very independent thinkers. And I think we should celebrate that. That's very essential. Stop spying. Don't be a spy. Stop checking their mobiles when they're in the bathroom. Don't do that. Trust properly. Be their soundboard. So be their soundboard is actually what it means is, listen to them. Listen to them in a way where they feel precious. They feel heard. Don't give them ready-made solutions. See what they have to offer to a problem. क्या वो लोग solutions देना चाहेंगे. Family का में सबका healthy participation होना चाहिए, ये rule रहना चाहिए family का. So healthy participation, which actually means that should become a requirement. जब आप stop, start, continue कर रहे हो, so participation देखो, you have so many festivals. Now you have Ganesh festival. So if you think Ganesh festival, maybe the mother is always in the kitchen. She is the one who's doing everything around the clock. Involve the kids, and it should be compulsory. This is your responsibility. This is your responsibility. This is your responsibility. क्या होगा, वन टाइम प्रोबेबली मोदक ढंग से नहीं बनेंगे, आपका मीठा ढंग से नहीं बनेगा, या आपका डेकोरेशन उतना अच्छा नहीं होगा, बट यू हैव टू गिव योर किड्स अ चांस एंड यू हैव टू अलाउ participation in everything. And India is so beautiful. We celebrate like every 15 days. We have something to, we don't need a reason to celebrate. We must utilize this. Diwali, all we do is we outsource and we call for Farar. Outsource and call like 10 things, but at least one thing, let the family cook together with the teens in. Let it be bad, let it come out, horrible, but then you all will have a laugh. So these are the ways. Value grounding. The most important thing I want to highlight is parents these days, whether it's kids, teenagers, we are so away from those values. There are no ethics, there are no morals. It's not there. Because as parents, we are failing to be the role models for ethics. Okay? So you have to ground your kids in honesty. Emotional honesty is very essential. Like there are times when my daughter comes and asks me, Mama, आपको बहुत बुरा लगा ना, dad ने ऐसे बोला. So I don't say, no, कुछ नहीं, तेरे dad है, बोल सकते हैं. No, I said, no, yes, I was very hurt. I accept it. Yes, I was hurt. Mom, were you jealous when you looked at that auntie? Yes, sir, I was jealous. I was jealous. You have to be honest. My daughter knows about my sexual abuse story. My daughter knows about my first crush. My daughter knows about everything about my life, my friends and everyone. She can actually tell you, okay, this is my mom. Yes, she did this. Yes, she was a jhalli. She will actually tell you this. Okay. So this is how you need to be. You have to ground your children with honesty, values, ethics. Truth is very important. And हम लोग ना बहुत fake करते हैं बच्चों के सामने. Be natural ना, जो आप हो. I've seen parents who are very, बच्चों के सामने they behave like, oh wow, very nice, very good, very nice, but they're very mean with people outside. And kids can observe. They know what you're doing. They know the tricks you're playing on other people. They know how you're manipulating other people. They know how you're manipulating the grandmother in the house. They know that. So don't do that. Value grounding is very essential. Stop being a control freak. हर चीज में ये किया क्या, वो किया क्या, ऐसे हो गया. मतलब बच्चे की लाइफ को कंट्रोल करना is not the मकसद. Get a different purpose for your life. First thing, mothers especially, get a different purpose for your own life. They are going to leave the nest and you will feel horrible. That's the empty nest syndrome you will face. Have your life, let them have their life, and then life will be really good. If you're just going to be focusing on, कि बच्चा कैसे ये करेगा and मेरे को उसके साथ रहना ही पड़ेगा, then the helicopter parenting is control freak. Quality time and conversations. Talk about everything. Do you do this? बारिश कितनी होती है? I miss rains in Dubai. So when it rains, I just want to sit in the balcony with my kid, with my pets, and not talk anything. Just be there. आधे तुम्हारे favorite songs हैं जो family करके सुनते हैं? Do you all dance together? Do you all get happy on simple things? अगर आप ये सब नहीं कर रहे हो, तो आपके पास दुनिया की पूरी दौलत भी होगी. There is some problem with the happiness quotient. And I've seen so many, I have been a witness to so many people who stay in these huts and
Ma'am, can I just interrupt? Anybody who is annotating, please stop annotating. It is creating a lot of disturbance. Please do not annotate. Yeah, please continue, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. So this is the last thing. Of course, I'm saying that people with less resources, they tend to make the most of those resources. And I've seen so many parents connect so well with their kids. If you observe on the roads, at the signals these people stay, you should see how much they laugh. In that 10 seconds, 20 seconds also, you'll see they're laughing, they're sharing, they're fighting. There's a full range of emotions and experiences that they're going through. Indian parents should also understand that when teenage comes, the first thing they think is about their 10th, then the 12th, and then their studies. Kitna paisa lagega, kaun si university mein bhejna hai, and you are taxing yourself and all so much. Everything will happen, but it doesn't mean that you should stop living your life with your kids. Okay? So have quality time and have quality conversations. That's very essential. Empathize with the kids. Unke pair mein ya unke shoes mein, what you call is, you have to be into their shoes to understand what they want to say. Don't compare. One thing is, बहुत बार ऐसे होता है कि कुछ गलत चीजें हो जाती है बच्चों से. They do that. and it's teenage. Don't forget that it's their hormones also which are making them attracted to the other people. What will you do? Like, for instance, we got a very difficult case where a young 13-year-old girl was in a relationship with a 30-year-old man. So it's like huge. And when the parents got to know, they reacted in a very bad way. They pushed her out of the house. They said, you cannot stay in the house, nikal diya ghar se. And somehow the girl landed up at our place, and she kind of got that support. We went, we told the parents and all. Everything sorted out later. Today the girl is, I would say, one of the volunteers, silent volunteers in our organization. But ऐसे जो रिएक्शंस आते हैं ना, मत डोंट डू दैट. मतलब अगर आपको गुस्सा है, वेट, सोच के समझ के आपको रिएक्ट करना है. जब तक आपका गुस्सा शांत नहीं होता है, इट गोज फॉर टीनेजर्स ऑल्सो. डोंट से थिंग्स टू योर पेरेंट्स दैट विल गेट टीयर्स इन देयर आईज. Don't do that. So you don't decide anything until both the parties are calm. When you are calm, then you sit on the table, then you talk and solve the issue out. If you think you cannot solve that issue, seek professional help. Okay? Volunteer together. I think this is an excellent way of connecting with your teenagers. There are so many social organizations today. अपने बच्चों के साथ खुद वॉलंटियर करके किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ज्वाइन कीजिएगा. आप खुद का कुछ अच्छा काम शुरू कीजिएगा, where like every Sunday you're feeding the stray dogs, or you're joining an organization like Cactus Foundation. We are looking for volunteers, by the way. Let me make that announcement. If you want, you can have the link in our Instagram bio, or you can follow us and ask us for the link directly. So you volunteer together is very important. Like, बहुत सारी areas in India, there are plenty of areas where you can volunteer. And what parents do is they send the kids and they tell the kids, certificate के लिए जाना है, volunteering के लिए, ज़्यादा involve मत हो. This is what the kids tell us when they come to volunteer with us. Don't do so. That's what I'm saying. It's a double standards. Teenagers hate double standards. Trust me. That is one thing that they hate. So volunteer with your child, to spend time with your child. Intimacy education pe, you must connect with your child. What is intimacy education? It is not just about sex education. मैं कैसे बात करूं, मैं कैसे बोलूं, नहीं. Intimacy education is about relationships. कि relationships में कैसे रहना चाहिए, क्या करना चाहिए. हर बात आपको खुली. You should be openly able to speak with your kids, about intimacy, about sex, about dating, about relationships, about marriage, about the institution of marriage. You should be able to understand their views. You should be able to give them that chance. Next is, let them have their freedom. They deserve their freedom. They are humans. They need their freedom. And let them be heard and seen in family matters. How many of you actually ask your kids कि कुछ घर में issue चल रहा होता है कि what do you think? कभी पूछा अपने टीनेज बच्चे को, तेरे को क्या लगता है, तू क्या बोलेगा इस बात पे? Okay, you want to change your furniture, you go out, you pay, you get it. In India, these things need to change because we are changing with time. So I want you to sit with your child and ask him, color of the wall, जो उसके रूम का ही पूछते हैं हम लोग, furniture and वो सिर्फ रूम तक, बाकी का घर में वो रहता नहीं है क्या? So you must ask, right? What do you want? What do you want? What do you think? Dad and mom have fought. Go and ask your child, what do you think? Don't ask him to take sides, but you can always ask his opinion. So the kids need to be heard. They need to be seen in family matters. What do you think of this problem that's happening? What do you think of this crisis that is happening? Finances बहुत tight हैं. हम कैसे manage कर सकते हैं? तुम क्या बोलते हो? तुम कैसे propose करते हो? क्या कर सकते हैं हम लोग खर्चा कम करने के लिए? And believe me, your kid will first say, Dad, मेरा ये classes है ना, ये online भी सस्ता होता है. I'll do that. Trust me, the kids they want to collaborate. You're not giving them an opportunity. Because तुम लोग ना, parents करके, तुम लोग और हम लोग, again, me also parent, I might also be doing that. हम ऐसे ऐसे ऊपर बैठते कि मैं boss हूँ, वो बच्चे हैं, तो वो attitude जब तक नहीं निकलता है, you have to, what do you call is, nothing will change. And remember, you are a parent and a friend. Okay? Don't do that style of, free range or that sort of parenting, permissive parenting कि सब कुछ चलता है. Friends करके क्या करते हैं? हर चीज चलती है. There was one father who actually, I give this example in most things, where he got a pack of he saw pornographic content on the child's mobile. So what he did was, because I'm your friend, he got another pornographic movie and he put it on this thing in the hall, and he's saying, चल बच्चे देखते हैं. This is not friendship, excuse me. This is just not friendship. You cannot be watching some dirty, sleazy thing on the TV and telling that I'm friends with my son and he can talk to me anything. No, this is not what we mean. When we counselors are shouting, be friends, it does not mean. What is a friend? If you have a real friend, they will say, don't watch pornography. don't see it. They will not say, come, let's see it. Yes, but I will always say, as friends, I will talk about sex. I will talk about my body changes. I will talk about how sex is essential, and you cannot just say no and ignore it, but there is a right time for it, and you should be mentally, physically prepared. There is a lot of emotional element in sex. These are the things you can discuss. That is what a friend does. Okay, so don't just see something, read something, half information, और फिर उसको दुनिया को बताने के लिए, मतलब आप ट्वाइनिंग करके इंस्टाग्राम पे फोटो डालते हो. ट्वाइनिंग यानी मैंने भी सेम कपड़ा पहना है, मेरी बच्ची ने भी सेम कपड़े पहने हैं, सेम प्रिंट, एवरीथिंग, डिजाइन, एवरीथिंग सेम, एंड आई एम पुटिंग द हैशटैग ट्वाइनिंग. दैट डजंट मेक मी अ फ्रेंड. दैट डजंट मेक मी अ फ्रेंड. ट्वाइनिंग आपके विचारों का होना चाहिए, ट्विंस की तरह विचारों का ट्वाइनिंग, आपके बिलीव्स का ट्वाइनिंग, आपके कॉन्वर्सेशंस ट्वाइन होने चाहिए. दैट्स व्हेन यू आर रियली कनेक्टेड विथ योर किड्स. ओके, सो आई वांट यू टू नो कि आपका रोल बचपन में पेरेंट करके हो सकता है 5 साल तक. 5 साल के बाद आहिस्ता आहिस्ता आपको वो ट्रांजिशन करना पड़ेगा, अलग अलग पेरेंटिंग स्टाइल्स चूज करके, सो दैट यू बिकम अ कोच, अ मेंटर, अ फ्रेंड, okay, and have the skeleton of the parent forever in your body. But you have to keep changing the flesh of your system if you want to really connect. So this is the final thing, and that's all that I have. Any questions, please do feel free to ask me. I have not seen the chat. I will
Yes,
stop.
it was a wonderful session, I can say, and I am sure all the parents and the children have taken a lot. See, what I always tell is you can take a horse to the water. You cannot make the horse drink the water. So we can bring these amazing sessions to you, but these sessions will help you in your life only you really think about it and probably work on the suggestions or the guidances which have been given by these expert speakers to to improve relations between the parents and the children. So I feel what all practical, this was an entirely practice oriented, I would say, like what I like to tell my experts whom we invite on these teen talk series, all these sessions, we tell them that please to give practical pointers, that people should be able to use it in their day-to-day lives. We are not interested in theory. What we are interested in is how to put it in practical use. So as I said, you can work on this, and if you really start looking into the relationship between the child and the parent and the reason for it, and you work on the expectation management tool which she gave, that stop, start, and continue. I think that's a really amazing something which she has given us to work on. And of course about the dinner table jar which she's spoken about, a conversation starter in the family. Absolutely wonderful pointers which she's given. Ms. Khan, we have got a few questions, though we might think that these are repetitions, but let us take them. Sure. And if those are repetitions, you can just answer it, probably in a short this thing. Yes. Yes. Okay, so one is, can you talk about romantic relationships of the child and parenting? So as I said, a few are repetitive questions, but for children, they are very important. So let's please answer them.
So what is the exact question, ma'am? They want to know.
Can you talk about romantic relationship of the child and parenting? Okay. How the parents are supposed to accept the parent, the romantic relationships if the children come up with, or they come to know that the children are involved in a romantic relationship.
Okay. I say what I believe is everything happens, over a period of time. Nothing will happen overnight. So if your child is coming and telling you, first of all, congratulations if your child is coming and telling you that he or she is into a romantic relationship. That is very, that shows the trust of your child. Don't be dismissive. Don't start finding faults. Don't start, whatever. It's a very good opportunity for you to come up with this thing and make the child understand about the physiological changes that are happening. Body में changes क्या हो रहे हैं, hormones की वजह से ये attraction feel होता है. You should ask the child, can you hold on for a while before expressing it to that girl or to that boy. You can tell me whenever you feel like, you're really missing him or you like something about him, you can come and talk to me, but don't go and directly tell that. You just be friends with the person for a while so that the child understands what he is getting into. So I think that conversation with the child should happen. And even before the child comes and talk to you, don't wait for someone to come and tell your child to come and tell you about it. Beforehand, from the age of 11, 12 itself, you must kind of give your child these small pieces of information time to time, that this is going to happen, you are going to feel attracted, you are going to like someone, you are going to like the praise, the attention. And most of the times these kids get attracted because someone is telling something nice about them. If we as parents shower our children with a lot of appreciation, real praise, get that belief system in them, then they do get attracted, but they don't get carried away. So you have to
Absolutely.
help your child stay grounded. Don't start counting the negatives of the other person unless it is a total mismatch. The way I said, a 30-year-old man. I mean, you can't be saying, "Oh, wow, very good, you're coming and telling me." In that case, I think you must again sit with the child, make it, it's actually illegal if it's happening with a person of a higher age, major ke sath ho raha hai with of a minor. Then definitely you can get in touch with Cactus Foundation also. We will tell you exactly how you need to go about it in that exception scenario. Yeah, but
Great.
talk to the child, explain, ask the child, what do you like, what is it that you like about the person. And maybe after a week they'll come and say, no, I didn't like her, I saw her in person on actual school shuru hua hai, online mein achhi dikhti thi mama, I think she used filters. They will come and tell you, I don't like that person. So don't get very happy also, wow, you're out of it. No, it's okay.
True.
Sometimes kids like someone and the other person does not like them, so they become very depressed. So try and understand that their love is not being reciprocated. So you tell them that it's okay, it's a part of growing up. You have to learn from these relationships. You have to move on. You have to give them that space to experiment. There is no other option
Absolutely.
in today's
Absolutely.
time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just negating their feelings is not going to work. It's absolutely right. I mean, just don't dismiss them. Just don't tell them that you are wrong. This is a small age. You should be thinking only about the studies. It is their feeling. It is something that they're experiencing. So acknowledge those feelings and just, I feel, tell them what is right and what is wrong, and then leave it up to them and be supportive parents, as to what they are doing. Great. So relationship between depression and parenting style, which style is correct? I think you have amply mentioned none of the parenting styles are absolutely foolproof, but you have to have a mix and match. But still, if a child is depressed, if any child is facing depression, then is there a problem with the parenting style, or how the parents should probably, think of something different?
Wonderful question. I would love to answer this one because again, congratulations to whoever's asked this question, because I'm sure maybe you or your friends must be struggling with this. That's why you asked this, and you're so concerned about your child, and you're talking about depression, which is like a stigma, which is, again, I would like to congratulate you for that. Second is, it is yes, parenting styles at times, like if you are a very dominating, a very strict disciplinarian parent, it does create depression in kids. So you have to assess your own, you can say, parenting style. Sometimes that's what I said, some kids, they want a lot of attention, they want a lot of connection, and some kids just want to be by themselves. So if a kid who's wanting a lot of attention, if his parents are uninvolved, then that child might also end up into a depressive stage. Then there are kids who just want to be by themselves, and if there are authoritative parents, which is like more of a positive thing also, he might also not like it. So more than parenting style, it is about what sort of communication is happening. Try talking to the child, try asking to the your teenager, and again, is this a transition into the puberty, is this a pre-puberty time? Because even at that time, for no reason also, there are many kids who feel a little depressed, a little low on most occasions. And after everything also, if nothing is solving, I think best would be to seek professional help from a
Yes.
counselor or a psychologist who will be able to assist you with it. So styles wise, yes, I would say dominating that style is not too good for the mental health of the child.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. And seeking professional help, psychologists, psychiatrists are not people for the mad people. These are not the doctors for the mad people. Let us remove that stigma. Let us use this platform to create some awareness that mental health issues are very real. They are very disturbing. They are, people cannot talk about it because of the social stigma associated with it. And there are absolutely good amount of help available, good amount of people available. We are always there to help you. through our Teen Talk series, this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to create awareness about the issues. We are telling you that there are people and there are helps available. In case you are finding it difficult to reach out to any of the counselors, or you want to reach out to any of the counselors, our numbers are there with you, 9819018000. Feel free to keep us, drop a text to us on WhatsApp, and we'll surely, make you get in touch with any of the specific counselor if you want to get in touch with somebody. But do seek help. Psychiatrists and psychologists are not the people who help only mad people. They are people who help anybody who is having mental health issues. Okay. The next question is, nowadays we are not that comfortable with our parents to speak anything. This is from a teenager, of course. The children find it very difficult to communicate anything with their parents. And there is a very disturbing statement which has come, which I find disturbing as a parent when I think of it, that most of us have a hate factor in some corner of our heart. I mean, never hate your parents. Their parents never mean anything bad for you. Maybe their parenting style is, not perfect, but let me tell you that no parent came with a rule book or a guidebook. They became parents overnight. They had to change their life. They had to turn topsy-turvy, just like Ms. Khan just said, the parent was born the second the child was born. So that was the time when the parent became a parent. And before that, they were also youngsters, teenagers, or living a carefree life just like you. So I leave this upon Ms. Khan to answer the question.
Yes, again, I believe the definition of love is, it's always a love-hate thing. It's always not 100% love, like whether it's a man-woman love, whether it's a mother-child. Hate is a very strong word. I would use the word dislike. I think you want to say dislike. I think in the next session that is going to be on the next on the forum, they will talk to you about emotional literacy, where what happens is our vocabulary is so limited that we use only those emotions. So I only know hate. Probably I'm having a high disliking, mindset for my parents. It's not really hate. So emotional vocabulary building is very important. This is something parents and teens must do. That is one advice. Second is, I totally get it when you're saying it's difficult to converse with parents. And I know that at times parents are very tough. My child, if you are here in the session asking me this question, I would definitely like to tell you that, see if you can begin. You know the barriers, right? Try to find out what are the reasons why this is happening, why you are not able to converse. Do you think your parents are too strict, too disciplined, or they're not paying attention to you? What is it what need of yours is not being met? Is something first you have to find it out. Once you find that out, I want you to sit with your parents and I want you to have this expectation management done. It's easier said. I know there are so many parents who will say, "Theek hai, tu jaakar aayi hogi session ko, I'm not interested in doing any of this thing." The best thing is, as a child, as a teenager, I want you to first believe in yourself. I want you to know that maybe your parents are not aware of who you really are. With your actions, it's a good way of introducing yourself to them. Try to start engaging with them. You try to start connecting. It's not always the responsibility of the parents to connect with the child, right? It's also the responsibility. You be the initiator. You'll become a leader in this then. You will automatically learn a lot about yourself. You will brush your skills. And I'm sure whoever's written this will become an amazing parent in the future, because when you're saying that there's this hatred that we have, it is because you want to connect. You have to accept. You want that connection with your parents and you're missing it. So you must be going and able to, you should be able to talk to your parents and do the needful. In case still, if you have a lot of issues, you can drop in. Rameshwar sir, our volunteer, will drop in my number as well, because you're a teenager. So we deal with all kids. Just let us know in detail what the issue is. But don't use the wrong words and label yourself and your parents. It's the word I would dislike. I'm sure you will also agree to it. It's you dislike, and it's okay to dislike our parents. It's okay not to agree with them. It's okay to have a different point of view, but you have to know that this is family. You owe certain, you can say, you have a responsibility. And worst scenario, the only scenario where I ask kids to rebel from their parents is when their parents are being sexually abusive with them.
Absolutely.
That's the only scenario I generally ask. But if you think your parents are not giving you freedom, that time also I'm saying, wait, hold on, try to convince, try to stand your truth, have the conviction, be honest. Okay, don't resort to shortcuts, don't resort to lies, don't resort to wrong friends, don't resort to unsafe situations. You will be 18 someday, you will get your share of freedom. I know that this is an issue with the Indian teens, but my heart is out for you. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
absolutely, absolutely. Please reach out, beta. We are always there to help. Okay, so if you have any such issues which you would like to discuss, please connect to Ms. Khan. Okay, please ask us and we'll guide. Every teenager, every parent is always welcome to ask us questions. And we want, families to have better relations. We want adolescents to have a better life. And we want this generation Z. There is no more generation X. You are generation Z for a reason. You are the future, of India and the global future. So we want you all to be better and best at everything. Do reach out. Yes, yes, madam.
Ma'am, I am seeing one question here. There is
Yeah.
someone who's mentioned any special care to be taken
I'm asking. They're coming. They're coming. There are lots of questions still. Yeah. Okay, so somebody has a concern that parents will be blamed if something goes wrong, because I think there is something where you said authoritarian parenting. Okay, and at that point in time, this question had come in, that if we allow children to be themselves, probably, then parents will be blamed if something was to go wrong. So would you want to pass some statement for this?
Yes, sure. I do have a very bold stance on this. I think as Indians, we need to get rid of this mentality, log kya kahenge. First thing, that is a major spoiler in most families. What happens is, हम सभी लोग, लोगों का सोचते हैं. We're continuously thinking ये लोग क्या सोचेंगे. उसके लिए हम अपने बच्चों के साथ गलत तरीके से रहते हैं. हम अपने spouses के साथ गलत तरीके से रहते हैं. बहुत सारे dynamics change हो जाते हैं. It's your life. It's not about people. Choose your style of parenting. Stay away from that authoritarian parenting as much as possible, and use different styles to raise your kid. Look, even if the child is failing, what people say should not matter, because in the heart of your hearts, you know, and your child knows how much effort have you put in. Okay, so what people say should not be your litmus test. Your test should be that you know what efforts you're putting in. You should have a connection with your child, whether, see, and one more thing, whether children pass or whether children fail, they should have a strong connection with the parents. I always say there are specially able kids, right? I have seen the parents, it's such a huge task to raise these kids with determination, and the kind of connection that they have with their children is amazing, because this concept of success, failure, it's not there. The whole idea is only about connection. That's the plus point in their case. So in our case also, connection is a very essential thing. Your child is going to become an adult someday. Some mistakes he will make, some mistakes you will make, and that's how things will move forward.
Absolutely.
Don't be bothered about people at all, at all. And we are not doing anything for credit also. Don't ever think that मैं अच्छा करूंगी तो लोग अच्छा बोलेंगे. Don't even be under that illusion. Just do it for you. Live your life for yourself and your child, not for others.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the same child has written that, but I think the issue is with comfort. I personally have a fear in my heart when it comes to telling all things to parents. But somewhere there'll have to be a beginning, begin and then see if things change. If your parents you feel are, not able to think in a correct perspective, or if you feel that you're still unable to reach out to your parents, you can definitely do a family counseling, or you can, probably make your parents understand your point of view and tell them, or rather persuade them to come with you for a family counseling, and I'm sure the experts will be much more able to help in your issue. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Parents and teens always never are considerate towards each other, so what is the solution?
The solution is to make a will and make an intention and start acting. You know the problem, you know the solutions. तो वो एक बोलते ना, मानस बनाना जरूरी है, आपके दिल को समझाना जरूरी है, और शुरुआत करना जरूरी है. जैसे even the earlier case where this child is he or she is not knowing what to do and how to reach out and all. I think किसी ने तो वो start करना, जैसे मैम ने बोला, that first step is essential. what to do. I gave you everything was about solutions, so you can just pick something and start. And this girl also who's asking about, you know, discomfort with parents, go and tell your parents, you know what, I attended a very good session, it was about bridging the communication. Try to find out which parents, father or mother, whom you think you can probably talk about this. Don't take both of them at the same time. Talk to them. They spoke about this, they spoke about how teenagers also do these things wrong. Mom, I realized these mistakes of mine, what do you think more can I do? And then you can say, are you comfortable listening to me? Then try to speak. And the only regret that we will ever have is, you know, that we did not speak with our children, that we did not connect with each other, that I did not tell my father or I did not speak to my mom about this. So instead of having that regret, start working. कहीं ना कुछ गलत जाएगा, थोड़ा सा दिल दुखेगा एक दूसरे का, but you know that as a family you are going to be strong. So you have to make that start, you know, you have to consider each other. And as parents you should have a generous heart of being more considerate for your kids, because it's their time, let them shine. You can't be like, you know, your parents were strict, did not allow you to go to a theater and watch
Absolutely.
a movie. You can't be saying you can't go to the theater and watch because my parents did not allow me.
Yes.
Stop doing that. Stop ragging because you were ragged in the first year.
Absolutely.
That's what I would
Absolutely.
like to say.
So you need to understand that this generation is ahead of the generation which was ours, okay? And so we also as parents have to change to suit the generation that is today's, you know. I mean, they have so much of social media, so much of contact, which we never had. They have got the availability of so many things which we did not have. So it is not right to compare what we got and what they are having. So let us not be judgmental in everything as parents. There is somebody who's asked that in our culture, asking questions is what puts you in trouble. And so that's why nobody dares to ask questions. I think you've already answered that, but yes, you need to please speak on that again.
Yes, we belong. I wouldn't say that it's not allowed in our culture. I would actually disagree. I think
It's in our minds.
it's in our minds. It's like, you know, even for religions, if you see, no religion asks you to do the wrong things. All
Absolutely.
religions tell you the good thing. But it is how people implement things is very important. So don't cripple your proactiveness, your wish to do something good with your parents and with your children because you think of the culture. It's not that how you question. Then focus on the approach. If you think that questioning in our culture is wrong, I think you should focus on how you put that question across. Maybe you need to be a little more polite. Maybe you need to have the right body language. Maybe you need to have the right words. So do a little research before you ask a direct question. Okay. And I totally, I mean, I can tell you, I am 100% with all the teenagers where these questions, I can actually know where these questions are coming from, because there is this thing, you know, most parents have this authoritarian attitude because of the way they demand obedience, they demand respect. So it's a tough time. But then one thing you can do is you can resolve that I will not be an authoritarian parent in future. I will work around and I will try to learn and evolve as a parent. You're getting my point. So you can always, if you cannot change your current situation, there's always a tomorrow where you hold the key, you hold that power to change yourself
Absolutely.
and create a very positive environment for your family, and that you can surely aim for and be more
So,
positive.
yes, but there is one word of caution which, on my own accord, I'd like to give it to the teenagers as well. You know, we see a lot of lack of respect from the teenagers for the parents. I mean, you cannot not show respect to your parents and then expect your parents to understand you. So, if you want your parents to start respecting your thoughts, your perspective, you know, your decisions, then there is something called as to and fro relation, and probably respect is something which has to come from the children for the parents. And I'm sure, as I said, you know, the recording of this today's session will be available on our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is that also goes with the name Teen Talk Series. So search for it. All the previous sessions and today's session, everything is going to be available on the YouTube channel. So all those who have these queries, you know, please try and persuade your parents to go through today's recording and make them attend our next session again, which is a continuation of today's session and which is on positive parenting. So I'm sure things may change. Okay, we can only hope for the best, but we are sure that the things will change if you begin somewhere. But somewhere the things have to begin. Okay, so the next question is, okay, any special care to be taken in case of an adopted child?
Child. Okay. Um, Yes, special care is not with your relationship with your child. I would say it's the same. The moment you get that thing in your mind that, this is an adopted child, you have to embrace the child totally first and accept the child with your heart. And this child is born out of your heart, and you're the lucky one who gets to choose and who gets to have a child, who's going to be staying with you. It's an honor, I would say. It's an honor. Okay, so I believe that it's very important to educate your extended family about how you want the child to be treated. Okay, so that is a very important precaution that you need to take with the parents around, because most of the times when you adopt a baby, there is this again misconception where people think that if you've not given birth to a child, which means that you don't know anything about parenting. Even I'm sure all of us face this. I think when I was pregnant, the worst part of my pregnancy was everyone would come and give me unsolicited advices. I mean, like crazy. The moment you go, फिर ऐसे होगा, फिर वैसे होगा. I mean, the doctors were the least ones because they were doing their work nicely. But people who are not qualified give you a lot of advices. So even for the adoption thing, I think you should have a very strong standpoint of view, and you should first speak with your extended family, your friends, and you should actually have a discussion with them, an intentional discussion that this is how I want my child to be treated. This is how.
Absolutely.
Never ever I want to listen to this, and this is the way it is. And if people are advising you a lot, that's also when you cross the border and say, excuse me, I'm a mother now, I know. I'm a father now, I know. We know how to do it. If we need help, we'll ask you. So don't just keep on, taking it from people. And with kids, it's the same equation. It will not change. One mistake that adopted parents do is they over pamper the kids, because the child, they are getting the child after a long time, after a lot of struggle, or whatever issues. So don't make that mistake. You have to have the balance. You have to know that it's your child, and there is no difference in the, how he or she came in your life is not as significant as what you want to do in the future and in the present time. So it's just like normal, just like everyone else. You just have to follow the rules that I just gave you.
Right.
That's about it.
Okay. So next question is again important. How to explain kids to stop watching pornography?
We take
Very
8 hours
important.
workshops on this, how to stop. We take 8 hours workshops, so it's a huge
Absolutely.
topic. But if I have to put this thing, stop, there is no such thing as, one is you have to find out how did the child stumble on pornography. Was it your mobile? Was it someone in the family? Was it in the friends? Again, there is a need for connection with the child. The moment you're connected with the child, you will be able to have this difficult conversation. You will be able to make him understand. There is a lot of, you will find a lot of resources where on the net, also on the Google also, you will get to know how horribly the pornographic industry works. The moment you're going to tell your child that अपने धर्म में ये मना है, तू गुनाह कर रहा है, तू पाप कर रहा है, तू नरक में जाएगा, they will say, excuse me, leave. So don't ever use the religious ground and the moral ground to stop your kids from watching pornography. Don't. It is not going to work. You're going to fail terribly. So one thing is, I think you should tell them of how this industry works. You should talk to them about how children are forced. It is in the pornography also, child pornographic industry is the highest
Absolutely.
industry. I mean, it has a huge revenue. Children are trafficked into this. People, how they are trafficked, how lives turn miserable. And more the demand, more the supply. So you can make them a conscious, make them, allow them to make a conscious decision. Don't ban things and don't say, no, this is stop, this is not done, this is not done. You also have to acknowledge that, yes, I understand why you're feeling this. And I think one important tip that I want to give is, for teenagers, when they get into that teenage pre-puberty onwards, and in teenagers also, channelize their developing sexual energy. So physical exercise, having a physical exercise routine, doing creative things, doing creative classes, having a good group of friends, having good conversations, and spending quality time. And the kids should be engaged and they should be involved. So automatically their energy is translated into something more creative and constructive. If there is nothing, just the screen time should be monitored. Very important. Screens should always be in the living room. They should never be in the bedroom. You should not allow it. You should not allow it. You should always have TV, mobile, laptop. There are situations where I'm sitting in the hall, and the hall is, I can see the entire hall, but the people in the hall cannot see what I'm seeing. So there are many teenagers, they watch pornography on the basis of, you know, they think that people, it's school going on, but actually the kids are having the plugged in and they're watching pornography films, everything. One is, I would say, the teenagers don't cheat. Second is, it actually affects your self-esteem. If you're going to watch too much of pornography or pornography, it is how it affects the self-esteem. Whatever they show in the pornography is, nothing is real, it's all fake. From the size of the penis to the way the people act, everything is so explicitly shown. That is not real life. And you have to be able to help and convince your children that you will have such benchmarks for your relationships, you know, and then you will not be able to, you know, you will think that you're not perfect or you're not complete, which is not the case. So you should have a very huge deep dive into a conversation, show them about the industry, show them about the exploitation that happens, talk to them about making a conscious decision, and leave the choice up to them, I would say, at the end. And I'm sure when you have a good conversation, good talk, they do give up. They do give up, because we're having so many volunteers who are working on this, and they have just given up. The moment they volunteer with us, they give up because they know the consequences. They see those children, they see those cases in our organization. So it's very important to show them the reality, not just on moral grounds. Moral grounds to chhodiyega aap, but how it can distract them, how it can, you know, affect their thinking and everything,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
That can happen.
Yes, watching pornography can have a long-lasting psychological effects on children, and they are devastatingly painful. Okay,
Yes.
and their whole lives can be destroyed with that. So definitely, if you feel that there is a problem and you are not able, because this whole point of today's topic is there is a gap in conversation between the parents and the teenagers. So if you feel that you are unable to talk on that matter, then please leave this matter with the experts. Talk out, reach out to the psychiatrist and psychologists, and I'm sure they will be able to help you. But this is something where the children do need help, because it is quite addictive. Okay, so please do reach out and please do seek help. Okay, so the next question is, how to connect with teenager who's reserved and can't expect much support from the father.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking. You're not alone, first thing. I would say almost 50 to 60% of the country is with you, because most families operate like this, which is not a very ideal way of operating. I think even kids who are reserved, who are introverts, who are shy, even if they are not talking much, I think, again, I gave you a lot of tips on how to connect, making those small rituals, spending time, asking your kid every day, you know, how was your day? And even if they say nice, it's okay. You talk about your day, you talk more about yourself, and you try to connect with your child. You try to be there, and you know, you should always assure these kids, or all the kids for that matter, that, you know, whenever you want to speak anything, I'm there. Don't be ever afraid. Don't be afraid of your dad too. I don't know about him, but I'm going to be there for you. I'm willing to walk that extra mile for you, to listen to you. So with over a period of time, even these shy and introverted kids, they will come out, they will open out. And as spouses, I think someone in the chat box has also written that, yes, Indian, spouses, I mean, husbands do not respect their partners, their spouses, their women. And then the kids also kind of sometimes take that up, they internalize it, and then they don't give much importance to the mother. So you, if something toxic is happening in your relationship, as a mother, it's your responsibility to highlight it before that child, whether it is introvert, extrovert, and say, excuse me, this is wrong. I don't have the strength probably to stand up to this and to create my boundaries, but I don't want you to suffer in your relationship future. So this is not positive that is happening. So you can groom your child the way you want to, even if you're alone. Okay, so don't be disheartened by it, and don't lose your self-esteem. Most mothers, if your husbands are dominating, don't lose your self-esteem. I have given you some amazing tips. You can have an amazing bond, and believe me, when your kids become like 30 or 31, your spouse will always tell you that you have separated me from my kids. You know, you ganged up against me. But that's okay. This happens in most families. So just connect with your kid. That's very important.
Absolutely. At least one parent can take charge and do the needful. What children need, at least one person to talk to. And if there is one person, that even may not be a parent, even if you're one person in the family, that may be a grandmother, grandfather, somebody who's of a stable mind, mature, can give correct advices. The child needs to connect to at least one person and speak out all the feelings of their heart to at least one person. And believe me, life would be very, very different. Okay, and so the question is, I think we are coming to the end of the questions. One is, does personality type, they have written MBTI, affect the parenting style?
Of course, yes. I mean, your personality defines your belief system, or your belief system influences the way you react, respond to things. So it does. I mean, the whole idea is the moment we stop growing as individuals, we stop growing as parents. That is a very important thing. I mean, you can't be saying कि मैं हमेशा गुस्से वाला ही रहूंगा, मतलब ये मेरा स्टाइल ही है. You should know that आपके स्टाइल की वजह से आपको सबको सबको तकलीफ हो रही है. Physically is going to have consequences for you also. So the only solution to this is to be a continuous learner, to be a continuous, you have to keep improvising yourself, keep reinventing yourself, rediscovering yourself. And it's like, जैसे cells भी regenerate होते हैं body में अपने, right? When we are sleeping and everything, there's so much of cell regeneration and everything that's happening for our good. Why do you think we can't do that with our own personality? We can. We surely can. The only thing that we need is a strong will and an intention to do it.
Absolutely.
So that works wonders.
I think a conscious awareness of a problem is what is most important. Recognize that there is a problem, okay? And if you recognize a problem, that problem will no longer remain a problem if you work towards a solution. So if you recognize a problem, that is, I think, probably half the work done, and then work towards solving it and finding solutions to the problem. And now we come to the last question. That is, many times it is observed that grandparents over pamper or overprotect the kids, and of course, this has led to a lot of disturbances in the family on many occasions in many of the families. So please, guide the people regarding this.
See, that's exactly my point. What happens is we kind of have a system. It's a family system where it's a joint family. Most families have a joint family thing, and there's nothing wrong in it. But the whole idea is, in our families, we don't have this concept of boundary setting. Everything is like aligned, and it's like one thing. Everyone has to think with one mind. One is, I think you have to be able to even sit with your grandparents. The parents especially should take an initiative and to sit with your in-laws, with your own parents, and make them understand how the world is changing. And there is a gap between them and you, and there is a wider gap between them and their grandchildren. So how their choices or how their things are, like, in a way, spoiling the next generation, because grandparents are mostly, they want to be the lenient thing. So you can decide, you can have a deal. What helps, I have observed, is you can have a deal that, okay, as grandparents, you can take care of them, probably, these are the times that we are giving you, where you can probably decide for the grandchildren. For instance, on a festival thing, that, okay, they can eat more, because बहुत बार ऐसे होता है कि kids want to eat junk and parents say no, and sometimes grandparents are the ones, खाने देना, उसमें क्या होता है, एक बर्गर एक्स्ट्रा खाएगा तो क्या होगा, तू उसको खाने ही नहीं देती है, तू कैसी माँ है, it happens, I'm aware. So you as the parents should work as a team, and they should explain this to the grandparents and have a deal. Give them also probably a day in a month or a day in a week, and a few areas where they can pamper the kids in a way that can be probably non-spoiling. But you also have to set clear boundaries, that please, you have to begin with your own parents in setting boundaries. If you don't set boundaries with your kids, you will get more stressed out, because then your kids are also not listening to you, your parents are not listening to you. It's such a miserable state. So set boundaries with your parents. It's okay to set boundaries with parents, spouses, anyone. It's important, right? आपको survive करना है तो आपको boundaries set करना जरूरी है. बहुत politely, pleasing way में आप उनके साथ set कर सकते हो. And as I said, nothing is going to happen overnight. आपको थोड़ा एक step करके you will have to do it, baby steps, and then you will see the changes. So probably it's like a cheat day. So you can have a cheat day where grandparents can probably spoil the kids the way they want to for whatever reasons. But when you are yelling, there should be some ground rules. So when you are trying to speak to the child, when you are trying to make him understand, or when you are trying to make him study, they should not step in, no matter what happens. So you can crack a deal. It works.
So basically, what is, the whole situation in India, what we speak is speaking to the in-laws for, a mother is a very tricky situation,
Very true.
for them to even suggest that probably, as grandparents, you are doing something which is going to harm the child. It may create a lot of, unrest and fights and miserable situations in the family. So I think the most important part would be you take your husband into confidence, okay, and both of you together, or rather through your husband, probably you can suggest to the grandparents in a manner which is not going to be hurting or disrespectful. Basically, it's the same gap probably which you have with your children, what your grandparents are having with you, your in-laws are having with you. So you have a generation gap between you and your children, they have a generation gap between them and you. So if you talk, if you make them understand, if you make them understand the situation, if you are not able to understand your child's perspective, for them 2 generations away, for them to understand your perspective is entirely a difficult situation unless you make them understand. So again, the whole situation begins with talking, and talking in a way which is not going to be disrespectful and more understanding. One child wants to, seriously ask a question and repeatedly asking me to ask is, once our parents know about us watching pornography, I don't think they could actually explain the same with a calm mind. They would probably scold us first, right? But it is not our fault and it can lead to depression. So now how would you want to answer this child?
Okay. Yes, this child, I mean, I'm so happy you are speaking about this in a public forum. Hats off to your courage, and I'm so happy. But see, the way I think Archana ma'am put it, no parent comes with a manual and stuff. So, and every person has a comfort level, you know. So some parents, they are also people. Parents are also individuals. They have their own comfort zones. So it's probably difficult for them to come out of their comfort zone, sit and talk to you. There are so many factors. You have heard so many factors are playing a role. But I'm sure as a child, you know that, watching, I have already explicitly mentioned. If you still want more, you can call Ram sir. If you're there, please ping in the number,
Yes,
the Cactus helpline number that is
absolutely.
there. We will explain to you how pornography is, huge mess for you. It's not about good and bad. It's that it's not right for you, and it's not just right because you're a child. It's not right even for an adult. It's not right
Absolutely.
for your father. It's not right for you. It's not right for your mom. It's not right for me, for you, for Dr. Archana. None of us.
Absolutely.
So that is something you need to take into consideration. And this question, as well as the question previous, I'm going to link with a very important thing. What happens is we discount the age of each person involved, like the grandparents' age and their brain and their emotional state, the parents' age and their brain development and that emotional state, and the child's emotional state. And we unnecessarily take things too personally, I believe. Many times in many conversations, there you should not take it so personally. And if your dad or mom are just like scolding you, it's okay. Don't think that they think that you're a bad person. They also know that such things happen in teenage and such things are okay. So you don't have an assumption from your side without a dialogue that they think bad about me or they are going to scold me again, or don't do that. But now that you know, after attending this session, that it is not right, go up the way you have the courage to talk to us here. Go and hug your parents and say, I got to know how pornography was bad. I got so many reasons. I want to tell you those reasons. Talk, develop that comfort level and say, I'm not going to be watching it from today, dad. That's my promise. And
Absolutely.
be an
So,
advocate of change. Even if your friends are forcing you, I think don't give in to that peer pressure. Be your own identity and personality. Personality किसको बोलते हैं कि आप खुद का ग्राउंड अच्छे से पकड़ो, कैरेक्टर अच्छे से अपना रखो, and आप अपने फ्रेंड्स को बोलो, excuse me, this is wrong, I'm not going to be a part of it. You should be able to voice your stuff and choose your action. That is a strong person. So be that
absolutely.
strong person for yourself and help yourself. And if you need more, you can always get in touch with our organization. You can volunteer for us. There are many teenagers I'm seeing. Please volunteer. 10th September is the last date for receiving the applications. We have a lot of stuff coming up. You can volunteer. So please just contact us on our Instagram page, that is Cactus Foundation. We will send you the link of our volunteer forms. You can fill, take a great experience, learn a lot, and that's about it.
So pornography is bad at any age. So child who's asking, child, it is bad for everyone. It is not that it is bad only for you as a child. Pornography is bad for everyone, and it has got lot of social psychological consequences. So if your parents are scolding you, it is for them also, it is coming as a cultural shock, rather, how my child can get into all these things. So it is not that it's like a spinal reflex, that probably if you touch something hot, your hand will immediately be withdrawn. It's a reflex. Okay, so if your parents see you watching pornography, shouting, scolding, probably is going to come as a reflex. And that reflex is not to demean you, not to make you feel bad, but it is just that, oh my God, my child is getting into pornography, because they know that pornography is bad for everybody. So please try to understand the point of view of your parents also. Okay, so with this brings us to the end of today's session, and I think we've covered all question and answers also. So as somebody beautifully put it, a quote from Dalai Lama, that when educating the minds of our youth, we must not forget to educate their hearts. Okay, and this is what we are trying through this session, is we are trying to educate the minds and the hearts of not only the adolescents, but also of the parents and the teachers, because teachers are the second parents, and these are the ones who are going to be shaping our generation of tomorrow. So with this, we are honored to have Ms. Khan. We are honored to have you over here, and it was an extremely, extremely, extremely wonderful and motivating session, and I'm sure everybody is going to take home some wonderful message. And before I hand you over for your comments, just please allow me. Okay, from IMA Maharashtra State, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes, from the Mission Pink Health, I am in Maharashtra State. We are very honored to present the certificate of gratitude to Ms. Nusrat Khan for giving your expert guidance to parents, teachers, and adolescent students through our webinar on Bridge the Gap, that is Improve Parenting Communication, organized by Mission Pink Health, I am in Maharashtra State, on 5th of September 2021 under the Teen Talk series. And this will be mailing to you, madam. So would you like to give some comments?
First of all, ma'am, thank you so much to the entire team of Mission Pink Health for giving us this platform to create this awareness, I would say, for joining hands with us, for being our voice, I would say. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. I enjoyed speaking to the audiences. Thank you to the audiences who came up with the questions so boldly and so openly. Thank you to all our well-wishers who have joined almost around the world. And it's an honor to do the work that I'm doing, and I'm so glad that things are changing. Like, things are changing, and I want to first also wish everyone a happy Teachers Day, and my special wishes to the medical community. I want to tell what these guys are doing is out of the world. I mean, these 2 years, the way the medical professionals, paramedical professionals, the entire medical community has been serving us. I think no amount of thank you and gratitude will be enough, because you all are like risking so many things and being at service in the pandemic, helping all of us. So God bless you, God keep you healthy, and may you get more time to connect with your family, because I know how doctors work, and I know the kind of limitations you all have, and how each time you prioritize your patients and the cases and the emergencies over your family life. And I hope you have amazing family life, all the doctors who are here, who are listening to me. And you can get in touch with us on Cactus Foundation. I think in the chat also the volunteering link has been put in. And do give us a chance to come up with several topics. We would be more than happy to get connected again, ma'am. Thank you so
Absolutely,
much.
absolutely. Thank you so much once again, I would say, from the entire medical fraternity. And as the cases of COVID are probably at certain places, they are on a rise, we are going to be having one session dedicated to the myths and facts about the COVID infection third wave. So we will be coming up with that soon, but we'll do it only when the cases are actually on the rise, so that that people are aware of, what to do and when not to fall into the trap of listening to the myths. Okay, so with this, we end our today's session. And with this, a sincere thank you to Ms. Khan, the Cactus Foundation, all the volunteers of the Cactus Foundation, to the Chameleon Group who has joined from Philippines. And I'm sure all the participants they're taking home something useful, something meaningful. And we really wish that you would put it to use in your practical life and make the most out of today's session, which can help you to probably improve and build a beautiful relation between the parents and the teenagers and lead a wonderful life. So with this, best wishes to everyone, and see you all next time. Next fortnight, 15 days from now, we'll come up with our next session, which will be a continuation of today's topic that will be on positive parenting. So looking forward to seeing everyone a fortnight from today. So with this, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll be ending the session. Thank you.
Thank you.